Hey y'all, good morning. I hope wherever you're at, you are dry, because my hind end sure as heck ain't right now. We had a rain shower come through on my drive out here this morning, just long enough to get this seat good and wet. So I'm gonna be out here in soggy britches all day, but we're gonna try to catch us some fish and hopefully get some big ones today, y'all. We're going after blues, and I'm really hoping, keep your fingers crossed, we're gonna get a big flathead today. We've got a cooler full of fresh skipjack we're gonna use as cut bait, and in this bucket right here, man, we've got the golden ticket, Willy Wonka's golden ticket in there, yellow bass. Some good sized yellow bass too. So we're gonna have a big live bait in addition to the cut bait. And we're on a stretch of the river here. In years past, this time of year, I have caught some big flatheads. So we're going after them today, y'all. Grab your fishing poles. Better get you a slicker, because we liable to get wet. I got the poor man's bimini top here, the umbrella, but we're gonna try to get them. So I'm gonna put y'all in the chest. We're gonna get baited up, and we're getting after it. We're doing it right now. It's time. It's kind of sunrise time here right now, although today with the weather being how it is, we ain't gonna see no sunrise. But it's around that time period of first light. So time for these fish to turn on, get their breakfast meal. So right here, I've got us a skipjack cut up. What we're gonna do, we're gonna use a combination of cuts today, and of course, mix in the live bait with the cut bait. But this one here, that's the money maker right there, folks. That's big fish bait, skipjack head, my favorite bait. Although, when I get a big yellow bass, like we've got here in this bucket, I like them too. But I've caught a bunch of big fish through the years on big skipjack heads. So we're gonna have that on there, on this front rod, if I can, okay, there we go. My sinker made it to the bottom long before the bait did, apparently, but there we go. Now we got it where we need to be. We're gonna have it, we're gonna cover some water out here this morning. We're gonna troll. We're not gonna have current, we're gonna troll. But we're gonna have it 2 or 3 feet off bottom as we make our way along. And I'll show you how we're gonna move on the graph here once we get everything baited up. I'll show you my rig here too, in case you're new to my channel and haven't seen my rigs and all that and everything here before. We'll kind of walk you through that as we get everything on the hooks and get baited up and get everything down there. So this is my suspend fishing rig. 8-ounce egg sinker down to a swivel, 80-pound monofilament line, leader line. We've got a 10-aught size circle hook. This one here is going to have a skipjack chunk with the gut pocket intact, and look at that little shad right there. He's looking at us. That shad had a bad day. He got eaten by a skipjack. But then below the hook, we got a Catfish Sumo bait stalker fly, just a few inches below it. What, you think that bait gets eaten? You think the catfish is eating the chunk of skipjack? Or are they gonna see the eyeballs on that little shad that was in the skipjack's belly? Who knows? Either way, if we get it eat, it's a bite, and I'll take it. So we drop that down, let the sinker hit bottom, raise up the rig, and we just want it just off the bottom. So as catfish are swimming along bottom, it's gonna be kind of in their face. I think I'm going to do the other cut bait here on the left side of the kayak. That way we get one on the, we're going to start out with 3 pieces of cut bait and 1 live bait. Here's why I'm doing that. I'm in this kayak today with the motor and, you know, bigger kayaks, got 4 rod holders on it. I can do 4 rods. I want to kind of create as much scent in the water as I possibly can. This rig here, first off, is the same rig. All these rigs are going to be the same except the live bait rig. But this one here, I've got a piece of skipjack with the gut pocket cut out. Just trying to offer variety. Head bait, gut pocket out, gut pocket in, offering different cuts. But here's the thing with the 3 cut baits versus 1 live bait. This morning, we are not going to have any current flow. They are supposed to be turning on some generators at the dam. Well, a few minutes ago, actually, they were supposed to turn them on. But we are so far away from the dam, and they're not going to be running much water today anyhow. So the fact that we're so far away, the fact that they're not running much water, if we get any noticeable current down here today, it's going to take 2 or 3 hours to reach us. So we're not going to have any scent dispersion out here this morning, with the exception of us trolling and moving along and kind of creating our own scent trail as we move. So what I want to do is try to put as much cut bait down there as I can right now, so that we're kind of getting some scent out, you know. And if there's some fish, if we go by some fish in the air, maybe they pick up on that. They come to us, we got a big live bait down there kicking around. If they're wanting a live bait, if they're chasing, you know, actively chasing fish this morning, maybe they nail that thing. We'll see. But I'm gonna get him on here. We ain't gonna catch him if we don't quit flapping our gums and get a big bait on. Let me get my rod ready here first. So this rig, basically the same rig as the others, with the exception of I don't have a fly on this rig. This is just a standard Carolina rig. The reason I don't have a fly on it is because there have been so many times in the past I will have a fish eat the fly instead of the live bait and then knock the live bait off. That happens with the cut bait too. Not a big deal because we got a bunch of cut bait. But with the live baits, I can only fit so many in this bucket. So I don't want them getting knocked off, is what I'm getting at. If this thing gets eat, I want him getting eat. So first off here, I'm gonna do a little something here. Y'all look your head away. I can't put this on camera, people get upset with me. But I'm gonna do a little trimming of some fins. I don't know why people get mad at that. They don't care about me putting a hook through this fish, but if people see me clipping the cartilage off their back, it's a big deal. News at 11. So I'll turn away while I did that. But we're going to take this hook. I'm going right through his back and out. So you can see that's a very nice size yellow bass. These are hardy baits. They last a long time. And they will sit down there, man, and they will fight and they will kick and stir up all kinds of commotion. They're one of my probably my favorite live bait, if I'm being totally honest. If I can get small, that's not true. If I can get smaller red horse sucker, kind of in that 8, 9, 10 inch range, those are my favorite live baits. But yellow bass, live yellow bass, is definitely up there on the list. I've caught some really good fish with live yellow bass through the years because of, like I just said, they are a hardy bait. They last a long time on the hook, and they're that perfect size. When you get them like that, they're, you know, that one, I didn't measure him when I caught him yesterday, but he's probably 8 inches, 9 inches range. That's a good size bait for a large catfish. They can get a nice meal out of it, but yet it's still easily edible for them. They can inhale that thing. And so I'm gonna get asked about trimming that fin off always. First off, I'm gonna put y'all on the chest here. I'm gonna tell you about that before I forget. I'm gonna tell you why or where we are, what we're gonna do and all that. And then I'll circle back to why I trimmed that dorsal fin off on them live baits. We got a lot to talk about today, y'all. We're gonna talk about fishing. I'm gonna tell you a crazy story about Bad Judy and some stuff that went on with me. We got life stuff happening, but first, let me just give you the rundown where we're at. And disregard, I apologize in advance, the aerator's running for our bucket. You're probably gonna hear it on the microphone. I can't help it. It is what it is. And there's some kind of fish right there, but we ain't paying attention to that. This right here is what we're paying attention to. This is what's more important than what we're seeing. So right here, I'm on this stretch of river. We're gonna work a main channel ledge today. We're gonna work down through here. This break line is gonna get more defined as we kind of go down through here, and the depth's gonna change. Right now we're 50 feet deep. It'll It's going to get lower as we go down here for a stretch, and then it's going to start to come back up. We will adjust our baits as we make our way along to compensate for the depth change. But we're going to troll today very slowly down through here and work this ledge down to the deeper part of it, kind of a deeper hole on this ledge. Not a deep hole comparative to what's out here on this river, but deep for this section of the river. And again, I have caught a lot of good flatheads in the fall, early fall, on the Stretch River, and that's what we're kind of hoping for today. So we're going to work our way down through here, keeping those baits off bottom very slowly, and see what happens. There's a chance we're going to get some big blues, hopefully get several fish today, but what I really want is the flathead. That's what I want today. So anyhow, I'm gonna put y'all on the chest. There's a fish. That one there is close to bottom right there. We're gonna get on the move here in a second. We'll sit here a second and see if any one of them wants to do anything. But going back to the live baits, I don't use live bait often just because of the hassle of it, really. I mean, you see how much space it's a 5-gallon bucket here. You see how much space it takes up in the kayak. It's extra weight, it's heavy. I can only put so many live baits in there. If I go a bigger bait well or bucket or whatever, that's even more weight in the kayak. So you're kind of limited when you kayak fishing as to what kind of bait tank you can have, et cetera, et cetera. And then you just got the hassle of catching baits and keeping them alive for however many days that you need them for your trip. So it's kind of a hassle. I don't do it often. Most of the time when I have live bait, everybody will tell me, Justin, you got to use live bait for flatheads. You'll never catch them on cut. Well, all my biggest flatheads have come on cut bait. All of them. When I use live baits, I typically get big blues on them. Now, I've caught some nice flatheads on live baits too, but it's usually blues that eat the live baits. But I had my bucket with me yesterday on my bait run, and I ended up catching us a bunch of skipjack, but I got them yellow bass, and I said, we've got a premium live bait today. We're going to do it, man. We're going to get after it. We're going to see what we can get with these things. So that's the plan with those. But circling back to the dorsal fin, this is a personal preference thing. Some people will trim it off, and some people won't. I do, and I do it for two reasons. One, the dorsal fin in itself is it's a protective, it's a defense mechanism for fish. That dorsal fin, if you've ever, maybe you've seen this out on the water. If not, you've probably seen it on the internet or social media. Pictures circle around all the time. People will see a fish floating out on the water and they have eaten another fish and it's gotten stuck in their mouth and they're floating, they're dying, or they're dead. If you notice when that happens, fish, they almost always eat another fish head first. Look right here, their head bait, something got after it right away. We just got on the move here. Probably a dink, just taking a nip. But if you've ever watched fish eat in an aquarium, you notice they typically eat those baits head first. They do that because that dorsal fin, fish will flare that dorsal fin out. So if a fish was trying to, imagine this is the dorsal fin, they flare it out. If a fish is trying to eat it from the tail first, that dorsal fin flared out makes it hard to get it down their throat. That's a defense mechanism for fish because their bodies, the way they're designed, their eyes are on the side of their head. So they can see beside them they can kind of see in front of them. They can't see what's coming up behind them. So they have evolved or been designed, or whatever your thoughts are on it, to have that dorsal fin to kind of protect their blind side, protect their backside. So I don't want that defense mechanism on there for our baits when we're trying to get it eat, right? That's just, you know, I want to remove. The other thing, aside from removing the defense mechanism of that bait fish, I want to remove the chance that that fin, when they flare it up, that it could get caught on our hook point and mess up a hook set. Because with them circle hooks, you know, the tip of the hook point, it's kind of right there. When that fish flares his dorsal fin up, the tip of that point's right there by that. So a fish comes along, smashes that live bait, maybe that hook point ends up inside that dorsal fin and messes up your hook set. It could happen. And, you know, if it costs you 1 fish, 2 fish, 3 fish per year, why have it on there? I mean, it's so simple. Just take some shears and snip it off. Now, people will get upset with you if you do that on video. That's happened to me. It's mind-boggling to me that I've had essays written in my comment box about the daggone fins. They don't care. They don't say one thing about me running the hook through that yellow bass's back. But cutting a fin off before I do it, I'm the damn devil. It's weird. So anyhow, that's why I do what I do with those. And some fish, depending on the species, it don't matter. You know, you take something like a gizzard shad. They've got a dorsal fin. It's not very big. You know, the yellow bass is very, very prickly. Very prickly. It's, you know, significantly taller in relation to its body size anyway. So I want to remove it on a yellow bass, on a white bass. I usually do on bluegill too. We do have some bluegill in that bucket also. We may work those in today as well. So anyhow, that's why I do what I do with the live baits. But live baits are they're kind of a novelty thing for me. You don't see them on this channel often just because of the hassle. I've had a lot of time through the years using live baits where they get eat. They do get eaten. And usually if you get a fish on a 8-9 inch bait like that, it's a good one. But boy, it's just a pain, man. I've had 2 times that I can think of where I've had my bait bucket in my car. Because, I mean, you can't leave it in the kayak while you trailer in the kayak going to the lake or from the lake to home, wherever. You can't do that. It's too much weight bouncing around in here in the kayak and stuff. So I have to take this out and put it in my car. Well, y'all have had this happen. Somebody pulls out in front of you, a deer runs out in the road, whatever reason, you got to lay on the brakes in a hurry. Twice it's happened to me where I've had to do that, and my bait bucket goes flying forward, spills out nasty lake water and fish doo-doo and everything all over the damn car. Then your car stinks for a couple weeks. So I hate transporting the bait bucket inside my vehicle, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. You can't transport it in the kayak. You'll end up busted floors and busted hull and stuff. And that's another reason too why I stick with the 5-gallon size on my bait well, because I had a 10-gallon that I had made once upon a time. I'd made it out of a Rubbermaid, I think it was called a Brute series trash can. And it was a good size. I could fit it in the kayak as far as the dimensions of it. but it was 10 gallons. And so you do the math on that, 10 gallons of water at 8 pounds a gallon, that's 80 pounds that you got to be lifting in the kayak, carrying it to the car, carrying it to the car to the kayak. Then you got 80 extra pounds of weight inside the kayak, which throws off your stability a little bit. I mean, I can tell this kayak I'm in today is a pretty stable kayak, but I've got the bow mount motor, I've got the battery for the bow mount motor, we got 40 pounds of weight here for the bait bucket, we've got my big cooler in the back. I think the cooler dry weighs 20 something pounds, and I've got it packed with ice today, and I think I got like 15 skipjack in there that are probably, let's say they're a pound each on average, maybe a little more than that. So, you know, you do the math on all that, man, you got a ton of weight in your kayak plus my body weight. So we're pretty close to capacity of the kayak before we bring any, imagine now, let's say we catch a big fish today, 40, 50, 60 pounds. We bring it in here, things can get a little tipsy even if you're in a stable kayak. So you have to factor all that in when you're adding your accessories onto the kayak. You got to think about, you can't just look at a kayak. A lot of people make this mistake when they're new to kayak fishing. They're getting a kayak for the first time. They'll look at the weight capacity and they'll say, well, you know, this kayak's got a 350 pound capacity and I only weigh 200 pounds, so I'm good. But they don't take into consideration the accessories they're going to add on, bait cooler, live wells, et cetera, et cetera. And so you can add a lot of weight real quick. 40 pounds for a motor, 30 for a battery, 40 for this, 50 for a cooler. Your body weight, man, it adds up quick. Plus any other gear you might carry with you. So, and then throw the whatever size fish if you're going to bring them in the kayak too. So it can just, you don't want to get yourself in a bad situation. Now, this kayak here, I think it's got 500 pound or 550 weight capacity. So we're up there today, but we're still under it. Now my other kayak, I'm gonna kick back and relax a little bit as we make our way along here. Y'all keep your eyes on them rods. I'm gonna let y'all reel one in today if you want to. But my other kayak, pedal kayak, my Old Town Big Water, I keep things pretty minimal in it when I fish out of it. I only use 2 rods. I've got my smaller cooler in it. I don't carry a lot of weight in it. So it has a lower weight capacity, but I don't have any problems staying within that capacity on that setup. But when I'm out here in this one here, like when I'm in this one, I'm kind of usually, I'm doing more, you know what I mean? Like I'm fishing with more rods, maybe making longer runs from the launch so I want access to the motor. There's more weight on this kayak. There's more stuff I'm gonna have on this rig, at least for the time being. This kayak is going to be replaced here pretty soon. Update on that for those of you who care. A lot of you have watched my unedited, raw and uncut videos here. Y'all have heard me talk about the new kayak situation. I'm going to look at the new Bonafide kayak, the XTR 130. I'm semi-optimistic that it's going to work out. I have big concerns, which I discussed a couple days ago when I filmed my last video about mounting rod holders to it. But it is supposed to arrive at Raccoon Creek Outfitters on October 2nd. The owner there had sent a message there yesterday saying October 2nd. I had initially heard they were going to start shipping them out from Bonafide on September 16th. So I don't know I don't know what the delay was, if, you know, who knows, I don't know. But either way, Raccoon Creek is supposed to have them in October 2nd. So I'm gonna try to get up there at some point within a few days or so after that and take a look and just get up there, set in it, try to envision in my mind how I'm gonna mount rod holders, how I'm gonna mount my power poles, where I'm gonna put a cooler, a bait bucket if I bring it. How am I going to lay out the kayak? You know, I'm not gonna be able to get it on the water, unfortunately, before having to make a decision on it, but I can at least set in it in the store. And I've done this long enough that I kind of know the distance I need between rod holders as far as like reaching from the seat. And I know I've put rod holders on enough kayaks now, enough different type of hulls, that I know what I need to look for as far as how to be able to mount rod holders securely to the hull of a kayak. So I'm just gonna get up there and take a look at it. That's all I can do. Get up there, look it over, set in it, feel around on it, make sure there's no weak spots, flex, anything like that that you don't want, especially in a brand new model kayak that's really not been put through the paces yet. And we'll see. If it seems to be okay, I'll be bringing it home. And if not, I'm gonna reluctantly give the NuCanoe Unlimited a shot. Reluctantly. So anyways, October 2nd, it looks like it's finally gonna, I've been talking about switching kayaks for 2 years now. Last year I had two options, basically, that Jackson Take 2 or the NuCanoe, and neither one of them really, you know, got me, put the tingle in the dingle or anything. And neither one of them excited me. So waited another year hoping something better would come out at ICAST, and Bonafide, they released their, Bonafide and Wilderness Systems both released a new kayak. I looked at the videos there on the Wilderness System, and I just didn't, I just wasn't impressed. It didn't do it for me. I think it's more bass fishing oriented with the design. I just didn't. I'm sure it's a fine kayak. Wilderness Systems, they're a reputable brand. I'm sure the quality of the kayak will be good. It's just the layout of it, the design of it, it just didn't really do it for me. The Bonafide at least has, there's some things about the Bonafide that I'm gonna have to work around for catfishing purposes. But overall, I think just looking at it and some of the thought that they put into where they put things and how they set it up, I thought it's got potential. It's definitely got some potential. So I'll give it a look-see. But hopefully here in the near future, you're gonna be seeing me in one or the other. Definitely gonna see me in one or the other. But I was hoping to kind of get a few more videos ahead in the queue, just in case when I go up there, because first off, I'm gonna have Raccoon Creek Outfitters. I'm gonna have them rig everything for me as far as the motor goes, running wiring and all that. I'm gonna have them do all that. That's the number one thing I hate with getting a new kayak, is rigging it up. I'd rather you just take me out in the street and whoop the far out of me than me have to spend an afternoon running wire and all that. I just don't, you know, I don't like it. So Raccoon Creek Outfitters, they do all that there in their shop. And so I'm just gonna have them do that stuff. Now what I will have to do is figure out when I get home the rod holder situation. That'll be on me to put those on. And so it may take me a little time to get that kayak rigged up even after I get it, because I'm gonna have to get it to figure out where I'm gonna put rod holders and how, and then once I figure out where and how, that's going to determine what kind of rod holders I get. So I can't really, it's not like one of them things where I can buy the supplies in advance and have it ready to go as soon as I get the kayak. Like, I'm going to have to just get it and then make the other purchases afterwards. Now, I've already bought the motor. I've already got the battery. That stuff I'm good on because I knew what I wanted with it. But that fish right there just come up and flipped us off. But I guess the important stuff when it comes to rod holders, catfishing, the important stuff, I'm going to have to wait on. So it'll work itself out. Here, this video, I mean, my videos are a little behind anyway, so by the time you're seeing this, probably, within a couple weeks of you seeing this video, I'm going to be in the new ride. And I hope it works out no matter which kayak I get. This one here has been a very good kayak for me for the last 5 years. It just has its limitations, which I've discussed in other videos. I won't rehash it here, but with that front hatch, it's a problem. Anytime the wind kicks up or rough water conditions, and I've been caught out in bad situations one too many times with that front hatch, and I'm over it. So I'm moving on. There's things about this kayak I'll miss, but it's time to move on. Maybe someday Hobie will kind of make a change, upgrade, redesign or something of this model of kayak, but with their new ownership group and them, I mean, I don't know their thought process with their business. It seems like they're really cutting corners. It seems like since that hedge fund or whatever company, whatever you call them companies that buy up other smaller companies and put them all under one hat, one umbrella. That's what happened with Hobie. They got bought up a few years ago and they moved their production to Mexico, which, I mean, a lot of companies do that, but when that happened, the quality of the kayaks really took a dive. You started seeing a lot more stuff on social media, people having holes. The floor of their kayaks would crack, or they'd get cracks around the pedal drive slot. They were having all kinds of warranty issues as far as getting parts and getting warranty claims processed and everything. And yeah, it's unfortunate. I hope Hobie gets back on the right track. They were really the leader of the kayak fishing industry for, well, ever since I got into kayak fishing. I mean, I remember when the Hobie Pro Angler, the original design, I remember when that came out. And what's funny looking back on it now, at the time I was in I had a cheap kayak first, and then I got that Native Ultimate kayak, which I'd bought used. It was a 2007 model Native Ultimate that I'd bought used. And I remember when that Hobie Pro Angler come out, and at the time I think it was like $2,000, $2,200, something like that. I was like, $2,000 for a kayak? There's no way. I ain't paying that. Boy, if a new kayak now of good quality come out for $2,000, there'd be a line around the side of the building like when the iPhone come out, man. These Hobie Pro Anglers today, even with the piss poor quality they're producing, hell, they're $5,000. They've more than doubled in price since they originally came out. It's crazy. I mean, everything has. It's the world we live in today, but still, I just remember back when it came out, watching YouTube videos on it, I'm like, man, that's cool, but I ain't paying $2,000 for no kayak. And now look at me now. Never say never on anything in life, folks, as you just never know. But I hope Hobie gets back on the right track. I hope they get their manufacturing process straightened out. I hope they get back to being a leader in the industry. I mean, for a long time, they were kind of not only known for their quality, but also just the innovation. Like every year it seems like they were either improving their pedal drive, they made the improvements to the Hobie Pro Angler, then they come out with the new Outback, and then they redesign the Outback again, and now it's just, they're just making money off the Hobie name, reputation, while they soil said reputation. And now I don't know, I'm not plugged into the dealer side of the kayak fishing industry, so I don't know, but just from looking around, used to, if I saw another kayak on the water, if I went to a local bass fishing tournament, all you would see would be Hobies. It'd be 80% Hobies. Now, when I see other kayaks, if I go to a bass tournament, hell, when I go to the catfish tournaments, the kayak catfishing tournaments, I'm the only person there in a Hobie. And say, when you go to one of these local bass tournaments, kayak bass tournaments, there'll be some Hobies, but it ain't 75, 80% Hobies anymore. It might be maybe 50% at most. There's a lot of other brands that they're in now because of the problems with the Hobies. Native has come on strong, Bonafide, Old Town's right up there. So I don't know as far as actual sales goes where Hobie ranks anymore. They may still be number one, but I'll bet you a shiny nickel, if they are still number one, it ain't by as big a margin as what they used to be. I'd about bet you the farm on that if you wanted to make the wager. So anyhow, regardless, this has been a good kayak for me. I wouldn't recommend anybody buying a new one of these right now, but if you found one good shape that's, say, I think they moved their 2022 or 2023, they moved their operation. So get one prior to that. You know, I'd look that up, see when they moved, and get a model prior to that. You'd probably be in good shape, find a good deal on a used one. But that's a thing now with these companies, and it ain't just, I mean, we're talking about kayak fishing right now, but it's across the board. These, I don't know what they're really referred to. Y'all probably know more about it than I do, but they're like these money organizations, investment groups. They'll go and just buy these brands and go in, immediately cut the salaries, cut the workforce, cut the cost, like cut everything, and unfortunately in the process, cut the quality, cut everything that they possibly can while still keeping the name on the side of whatever product it is they're making, and just try to make a quick buck. And then if the brand gets tarnished, here we go, finally got a fish on here, man. Fish number one, y'all. How long is it taking y'all to get a bite? 39 daggone minutes for y'all to catch a fish. Y'all are terrible fishing partners. If I had a fishing partner worth of crap, we'd have got bit in the first 5 minutes. I don't know why y'all can't catch fish. Every time I bring y'all with me, it seems like you can't catch no fish. We got one here though. Number one. He ain't gonna be very big, but we getting the skunk out here. Well, he's a larger dink. He's something. Oh Lord, he just splashed me right in the face. Fish, I was already wet on my backside from the rain. Now you done got me on the front side. I hope he splashed that camera lens too. If I gotta get soaking wet today, by gosh, y'all need to as well. Come over here, fish. I've had enough of you. I'm gonna let these people here land you because I don't want to fool with you. Get my glove on here. This old ornery fish. Well, he got me good. Water ran right down my shirt. I feel it going down my chest right now. Come here. Open up. Open up. He ain't gonna listen to me. The fish ain't got no respect. Y'all gonna have to talk to it in a stern voice here to get him to cooperate with you. You tell this fish who's boss around here. Look at, he's got a leech on the side of his face. Look at that leech right there. I busted his lip or something right there too, by gosh. We showed that fish who's boss. He's gonna be embarrassed down there. His friend's gonna make fun of him because he got his lip busted. Let's put us another bait on. He got him a free meal out of us. It's all right. We got plenty of bait today. I think I got somewhere around 15 skipjack yesterday evening. It was a fairly good bite I got on. It was a evening bite yesterday. Hold on a second. I can't get this daggone. There we go. I'm having trouble getting I got these skipjack in a bag and I got it buried in ice and I was having trouble getting it out. But yesterday it was pouring down rain in the morning, and so I waited till the afternoon to go out and make a bait run. And lately I've been fishing morning hours. And so that was the first afternoon I have fished in a while. Actually, I'm gonna cut the gut pocket out on this one too, because that bait we had there was the one with the gut pocket out. But anyhow, right there around sunset, they turned on for a little while. It was busting surface every which way, and so I was able to get them, and I had trolled a little bit, just trying to find some skipjack, and then I'd got them yellow bass while I was trolling. Here's our next bait for those of you that want to see it. But I'd got them yellow bass, and then I took my ultralight rod with me too, so I got us some bluegill. I took the ultralight rod as a backup, just in case I didn't find any skipjack, because they kind of got hard there for a little while to find. But they had turned on and was going crazy there, and so I was able to get them, and I don't know how many I ended up with, 15, 18, somewhere thereabouts. Plenty enough for us to have a good time with today, and maybe tomorrow too, weather permitting. Clean our cutting board here. Well, it took a while to get that first bite, but now that we got it, hopefully it's going to be the first of many today. I'm going to have to lower these other baits. I'm sitting here just talking about shady business practices that these companies are doing, and we're dropping off a little bit deeper water and need to adjust our baits down. With us suspending baits today, we are going to have to compensate for the depth changes. Now, lately, the better bite has been dragging. The better bite for me, the better bite for everybody I know has been dragging baits. And so naturally, I come out here today, I'm gonna clean the water off the lens. He did get y'all a little bit, didn't he? Naturally today, we're gonna do the exact opposite of what's working, right? We're gonna just sit out here and try to suspend. But as I've discussed so many times before, I love suspending. Suspending is my favorite way to fish, and with us having the live baits today, I want to suspend live baits. I do not want to try dragging with live baits, because inevitably, you try it, that live bait's gonna swim. He's gonna be up there running circles around your dragon sinker. You're gonna have a tangled mess, and when a fish does come along to eat him, well, you in bad shape, you know, like you're gonna have a bad time trying to get it to eat with it all wrapped up in that dragon sinker. So I want to suspend. Plus, as we're getting in here to early fall now, mid-September here, it's the flathead bites going to start picking back up. I got one there on my last catfishing session. I got a nice flathead, and so we just at that time of year. So I want to be suspended, even though it ain't necessarily the best technique right now as far as the blues go anyway. You know, I've got friends catching, one of my friends caught a big blue yesterday, dragon. But man, I want to suspend, and I want to get one of the big live baits eaten today. I want to get that big skipjack head eaten today. I want it down in my bones, man. I want me a big flathead today. So that's what we out here trying to get. This section of the river, I don't know what's special about this versus any other section, but for some reason, maybe I've just been a little bit lucky. Maybe it's been right place, right time. But I have come here during this time period, kind of September, October-ish, and have busted some big flatheads through the years. I've been doing YouTube now for, I think, 8 years. Now, I got videos on my channel going back 6, 7 years, I know for sure, catching really big flatheads through here this time of year. So I just, you know, it's just one of them places I like to hit during this time period. Unfortunately, the success that those videos have had, along with just landmarks and houses and stuff in the area that people who fish around here can easily spot. This area gets pounded a lot harder today than what it did 5 years ago, 6 years ago, before my channel took off. Used to, I would never see or hear of anybody fishing around here. Now, I mean, sometimes I make bait runs on the weekends. There's somebody out here every daggone weekend working this area. So it gets worked a little bit more now. There's a little bit more pressure now, and the more pressure you get, typically it can have an effect on the fishing. So, you know, you take that into consideration, but I'm one of them people, if I get on a pattern, like if I know I can go such and such place at such and such time and have a reasonable expectation of catching a big fish there, well, I'm going to keep doing it until it stops working, right? Like until I have a couple years go by where that place at that time don't work anymore. I'm going to at least keep trying it. And it cycles. It happens. I got a stretch of river a few miles away that in the spring it used to be on. I could set my watch to it, man. I would go up there. I caught big flatheads there in the spring. I would catch just numbers of blues with some really good quality fish mixed in. Like it was great. Every freaking year it was reliable. But, you know, over time it just it started getting pounded. I mean, I used to never see anybody there. And the last couple years when I've went there during that time period, even during the week, I'm seeing people out there fishing, and the magic's over. It's gone. The last couple years, I don't know that I've put out, I've tried filming there, I know, but I don't think I've put out a video from there because I haven't done any good. It's just, the numbers and size of fish are gone from there. I don't know if they've moved on. I don't know if they've been taken out. I don't know. The common thing to do in the catfishing world is to blame the pay lakers when a spot or a bite gets hurt. And so, well, it must be pay lakers in there setting nets and taking all the fish and stuff. Maybe it is, I don't know. It could be a variety of things. I had never seen any commercial people out there on that stretch of the river, but they typically will come in the middle of the night and set their stuff and whatnot. So who knows? It could be a variety of things. Could be the pay lakers, could be just maybe something in the ecosystem changed. Maybe a food source got diseased and died off. Maybe those fish got diseased and died off. Who knows? It could be a variety of things. I'm certainly not a fisheries biologist. I'm just a random guy that likes to go fishing, and if I get on a pattern, I will work that bite and pattern, and if that situation changes, well, I adapt and change with it. I just go somewhere else and figure out another way to catch fish. So I can't control where fish are going to be and when they're going to be there, or if there's any fish there. I have no control over those kind of things. So I try not to waste a lot of mental energy on it. I just try to go do my thing. And with the way I fish, and we're going to get into some philosophical crap right here, folks. Put your philosophy thinking cap on here. I've touched on this a little before, but I'm going to hit it again right now because it's pertinent. The way I fish, I do it because I like doing it. I like the process of it. Like I mentioned out here today, we're suspending baits. I know damn good and well my friends are doing way better dragging. Last week, hell, I was doing better dragging. But I'm willing to sacrifice that I'm willing to sacrifice some success to have more fun, because I enjoy this more. I enjoy the process more. And so I think that's important, not just with fishing, but in life. What was it in our Constitution even? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I've heard other people say this before. This is not a Justin original right here, but it's the God's honest truth. The pursuit of happiness, you never catch the happiness. The happiness comes from the pursuit. Well, that fish right there come up right beside us, shooting us a bird. If I'd been looking that way, I'd probably seen the middle fin up right there. He's probably upset with me because I trimmed off his, oh, he's busting right here. You know what, we got our bait rod. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a bass or, it ain't skipjack, but let's stand up right there and make a cast or two. He was busting him a shad, wasn't he? I ain't out here to catch a bass today, but if it is a bass that wants to play, we'll gladly put him on a hook, assuming it was a bass. He seems to be gone now. Well, good effort. Self high five. Diamond Dallas Page style. But yeah, folks, man, you gotta enjoy what you're doing. You gotta, and I don't care if it's fishing. I don't care if it's your hobby, a job, education, maybe you're learning a trade. If you're doing something that you like doing, man, it just makes life better. And most people, look, most people, this is fact. This ain't me making this up. I mean, y'all know it to be true. Even if you happen to be somebody who likes your job, I think you will even agree with me that most people don't. Most people you know don't want to go to work. They dread going to work. They look forward to their vacations and their days off and stuff. If you enjoy your job, or enjoy what you're doing, life is just better. You're just going to live a happier, more fulfilled life. Now, I understand it takes money. You got bills to pay. You got to keep a roof over your head and food in your belly and clothes on your back. And if you got a family, then you got to look out for them too. You got pets, you got to accommodate for them and stuff. So, like, it takes money to do that. And sometimes maybe what you like doing costs money and it doesn't make money. So you have to go do something you don't want to do. So I get that. I get it. But the times you're not working, when you maybe got some free time, if you can spend that time doing something that you enjoy, it's just going to be so much better, regardless of the results of it. And I'll just use fishing as an example. Let's say you're somebody, you work full-time, you're working overtime, you got family commitments. Maybe you only get a couple, 3 days a month that you can just get some time to yourself to go out and fish. Think about it in your own life, in your own experience. What are the times when you were happier? Is it the days where you go out and you're doing something you don't want to do and you catch a bunch of fish? Or is it the days where you go out and you do something you really like doing? Maybe it's a technique you like doing, or you're fishing in a place you like to go, or maybe for a certain type of species. And maybe you only get 1 or 2 fish, 3 fish or something. Well, maybe it's not a lights out productive day. What, in your own mind there, in your own experience, like, what's more enjoyable for you? Was it the day where you had to do something you didn't want to do, you kind of had to work and grind out there on the water, but you got a bunch of bites? Or was it a day where you did something you really enjoyed? This rod up here gets tapped. But you did something you enjoyed, but maybe you didn't get as many fish. I'm willing to bet you money that when you're doing something you enjoy, you probably are more satisfied with the results that you do get. The fish that you do get on those days where you're doing what you want to do, it probably means a little more. It does for me. Like, if I'm going out and maybe I'm in a tournament, I have to do something, I have to fish a certain way because that's what the best bite is on. Sure, I'm happy if I catch fish, and I'm certainly happy if I cash in a tournament, just for financial sake and just for the sake of my own ego. I mean, who don't want to be able to stick it in the tournament competitor's face, right? A little nip again here. But I personally just get way more satisfaction when I can go out and treat it like Hannibal from the A-Team. Come up with a plan, go out, execute that plan, do a technique that I enjoy doing, and catch some fish on it. Like, those are some of my most memorable trips. I've won money in tournaments and probably couldn't tell you all the details from the tournament day. But you ask me something about a trip that I was doing something I wanted to do, if I start talking about it, I'll probably conjure up the feelings and emotions that I experienced on that day. So again, it's to each their own. I'm not telling you how to live your life or what you do. But It just seems to me, my own personal experience, other people that I've kind of interacted with or talked to about it, when you really, if you talk to somebody and you figure out what it is that kind of makes them tick, that gets them excited. Yeah, I had a guy, this will kind of touch on this a little bit. I had a guy comment probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And it was a pretty long comment there, paragraph or so. Say he was a regular viewer of mine. And he loved the channel, watches videos. And he said he fished for, he named off some species that he fished there for. But he was fishing for meat. He was fishing for food. And he said he couldn't figure out why I thought fishing and releasing the fish was so fun. Our back. The yellow bass got a little lively for a second, and I see why. Look right there. Look right there. We had something. He swam off, but he was looking around. That yellow bass got lively. I think what I'm going to do is we're working our way down here. I'm going to get us down here and spot lock in a minute. Okay, we got something back here now. We're going to spot lock here in a second. We got one on. I don't think this is the fish we've seen on the graph. I'm going to work us down just a smidge and kind of a... I'm probably going to keep us on the break line, but kind of down in the deeper part down here. And we might just sit there a smidge. We might, instead of moving, before we come out of this part, just kind of, just sit here for a little while and just see what happens. I had hoped to get some fish working down this ledge here, but I mean, we've covered a little bit of water, and this is only fish number 2 here, as he's upset with us. Fish, did you tell your friend that these lines have hooks in them? And is that why he ran off? I saw him there on the screen. You tipped him off, didn't you, fish? There we go. Another dink, larger dink, but small fish nonetheless. We're gonna have to catch something bigger than that today. Even though we're doing what I want to do, we definitely gotta catch something bigger than that to have us a memorable trip today. I'm semi-optimistic we're going to. Y'all may not have as much faith in me as what I have in myself right now, but I think we're going to have us a good day. If you're seeing this video, something more has went right for us today. If I roll out of here today having only caught 2 small fish, I'm not going to subject you to this nonsense. So something better has happened if you're seeing this. Maybe it's a lot of fish, maybe it's a big fish, but it's something nonetheless. I'm gonna get this bait on here and I'm gonna finish telling you about this fella that wrote me this paragraph, and we might get off this philosophy nonsense here in a little bit. Get this bait down here first though. That's top priority right now. Top priority. We're going to work our way down, and I think we're going to sit here for a little while. I'm going to hit the spot lock, and we're going to sit here kind of on the edge of the deeper part of this ledge and just see what goes on for a little while. Maybe give it 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so, see if anything's around, see if anything comes back. I was kind of hoping maybe at first light there, well, at least first light, best we could see with the clouds and weather and all, but you know what I mean, the time period. I was hoping some fish might be up, kind of up on this ledge working, you know, going up and down, and then they would retreat back to this area as the morning goes on. But we didn't really have much, I mean, 2 fish coming down through here, didn't really have the action I was hoping for. So we may just sit here kind of on the edge of this hole and just see what comes back here in the next little while. Or what's already here. Maybe they wasn't out. Maybe they just been sitting here kind of inactive or something. Who knows? But anyway, this fella, he wrote me this comment, and you know, he was polite about it, respectful about it, whatnot. It wasn't like a nasty comment or anything, but he was just asking, why is it that I get excited while I'm reeling in fish when I'm just going to release the fish? And from what I could gather from his comment there, he, being a meat fisherman, doing it for, and I don't know if he was like a commercial fisherman or if he just relied on the meat from the fish to feed himself and family and whatnot. I don't know, based on the comment, but he couldn't understand it. That was the premise of the comment. Like, he couldn't understand why me or anybody else would get excited over catching a fish that I was going to release. He enjoyed the videos, apparently, because of me and just enjoying the fishing, I guess. He enjoys me, but couldn't understand. And I was like, I didn't respond to the comment because how the hell do you respond to it? Like, it's one of those things. If I have to try to explain it to you, you're probably not going to understand it anyway. It's one of those things that you can't really, you have to feel it. You can't learn it. You have to feel it. You have to experience it. And if you don't feel it, then you just, and clearly he don't. You know, he's obviously a fisherman there for sustenance, for food. But if you don't enjoy it, and I assume because of that, fishing's kind of like a job to him. And that probably, the fact that he has to do that probably takes away from some of the enjoyment. Anytime you have to do something, it does take away from whatever it is you're doing. That's true with anything. But I mean, I enjoy reeling in fish. I enjoy playing tug of war with these things. So, especially the bigger ones or smaller ones if I'm out there ultralight fishing. But if you're somebody and you've tried it and you don't feel that or experience that, well, fishing's probably not for you. At least not like sport fishing or catch and release fishing. I mean, if you need to go fishing for food, then you got to do what you got to do. But I mean, as far as like a hobby, as just far as something that you're going to just do to enjoy, maybe it's not for you. But you got to something is going to get you that feeling. Maybe it ain't fishing. Maybe it's, hell, I don't know. Maybe it's making crafts or building birdhouses or something. I mean, everybody in the world has got something that they enjoy. Everybody. It don't matter who you are, what side of the world you are. Don't matter who you're voting for. Everybody's got something that they're good at. Everybody's got something that they enjoy. And you got to find it. You got to find that in your life. Figure out what it is you like doing. Once you figure that out, figure out not only how to get good at it, but figure out how to get the most enjoyment out of it. And if you can spend your time doing that, as much as you can, that's a life well lived, man. Too many people, and I'm guilty of this myself, they do a bunch of stuff they don't want to do, thinking they're going to have time in the future. They work their whole lives to get ready for retirement because they're going to travel the world. And they get to a point where they can do that and they're too damn old to enjoy it. Or they got health problems or family problems or whatever. They miss their chance. Yeah, I think you got to find a balance to be successful. And listen, I shouldn't be lecturing on this or talking about it because God knows I've been very, I live a good life now, but it wasn't always this way. For several years though, I took every shift of overtime I could possibly get because I was in a bad spot. I'd made dumb financial decisions, then I'd gotten hurt in a car wreck and really set myself back, and it took me a long time to dig myself out of that hole. And so as I was digging myself out, I was working as much overtime as I could get. And my friends, those were the best years of my life that I sacrificed in reality. I don't care how old you are right now as you watch this video. Unless at this moment, if you are sick at this moment, if you are injured at this moment, throw out what I'm about to say. But if you're somebody right now, maybe you're 25 years old, maybe you're 35, you're 45, you're 55, 65, and you are in relatively good health. You don't have any ailments going on, nothing like that. You're functioning well in life. You are going to feel right now today as good as you are ever going to feel again. Your energy will never be higher. Your body will never feel as good. Like, whatever your baseline is right now, sure, you could improve it a little bit, but I may not be explaining it well, but I think you know what I mean. Like, when I'm describing myself here, I'm going to hit spot lock for a minute. We're kind of down here. This is the deeper part of this hole, and we're going to start to come out of it up here. I'm going to keep us here on this brake line right here, kind of on the side of this hole off this flat. There's a flat here a few feet deep, and it drops off. We got a creek right up here in front of us too. I'm going to keep us just right in here, right in front of that creek, off this flat and by this hole, and just see what. We'll sit here a few minutes. Well, let's give it 20 minutes or so and sit here. But myself, just speaking my own personal experience, when I was killing it on overtime, trying to make extra money, pay off debt, get myself in a better spot financially than what I'd so stupidly got myself into, man, my friends, they were out living it up. They're out there at the bars, they're taking vacations, they're traveling, they're doing stuff, man, and I was working. And, of course, when you're that age, you don't think about stuff like that. But now, I look back on it now, here I am in my early 40s, I look back on it, I'm like, man, those were physically, I was coming off a pretty bad injury there, but once I had rehabbed from the car wreck, and got back to being able, physically functioning again, I'm like, man, from an energy perspective, from a recovery, when you go do something and how long it takes you to recover, how much sleep that you need to be able to function well through the day, like, my 20s, probably the best years of my life, and I spent that mostly working tons of overtime. And so what a shame it would have been if I had died young. I would have wasted my life working and not experienced all those things. Now, I kind of, in a way, during that time, bet on myself. Because by doing that, I was able to dig myself out of the hole, pay off all my debt, and get myself in a situation where I could do what I wanted to do at a relatively young age. I was, I think, 32 when I paid off the last of my debt there. And so from that point forward, I'm pretty much just working to survive and to put money back for retirement. So I was able to take more time, do more stuff, you know, enjoy life more. So I kind of was betting on myself that I would live a longer life because, again, let's say I had another car wreck and died at age 30. What a shame that would have been, to have wasted all that time of my life just working my life away. But if I live to 50 or 60, or I hope I live much longer than that, and I've had, because of the sacrifice I made for a few years and have all these extra good years, well, great. Then it's worthwhile. Then it all pays off. It works out. But nevertheless, when you look back at your life, I'm 42 now, I'm in pretty good shape. I mean, I keep myself in good physical condition. I eat pretty good. I try to, for the most part. I eat some junk food too. I haven't had a Pepsi in 4 days now. Shout out to me for that. Trying to cut back on those things, trying to cut them out actually completely. But I mean, I keep myself pretty healthy, but I can tell you right now, I don't feel like I have the energy today that I did at, say, age 35. And I didn't have the energy and the ability to recover as quickly at age 35 as I did at, say, age 22. You know, it's just part of the aging process. As we get older, it just, our body, we don't have the energy that we used to. We tire out quicker. It takes us longer to recover. It's just, that's how it is. It's aging, right? And so, unfortunately, we got a fish here on the, something's working that head bait. Leave it alone, fish. I can already tell. I don't want you getting it. Oh, he got it. He got it. Let's get another one. This one we're setting still. We got another one here, folks. He took off. I don't think, this is another one here I don't think you wanted to catch. Well, he must have heard we didn't want to catch him because he come off. Did he get in our other line before he done it? That's why he come off. He worked that hook down through the other line and popped it free. Oh, fish. We didn't want that in no way. Let's fix this bait back. I'll tell you what, let's do actually. I got that other head bait cut. If more we'd cut that other skipjack, we'll just put it on. Put us a fresh one on that rod. Like a Mentos, the fresh maker. But anyway, I just, oh, he's over there on that rod now. Tell that fish to get on. I am gonna catch him next time. Tell him leave these baits alone. Maybe he will if we put a hook in his jaw. Get past the barb anyway. But I mean, I see all these people and they say, well, you know, they're saving up, they're gonna travel the world in their 60s, 50s, 60s, whatever. I think you need a little, oh, y'all, looky here. I didn't even know that yellow bass had gotten eaten. I didn't even know it. I think something's got him. I don't think he's taken down that rod tip like that. I think that's a flathead that's got our bait, man. We got a pontoon about to go by. I want this fish to kind of load up the rod, get the hook on his own, but I want this pontoon boat to go by too because I don't really want him to see me catching fish right here. I don't know if he's a fisherman or not. Oh, this one's going down. Oh, he's gonna see that. This one's going down. I don't think that's a fishing boat type pontoon. Y'all, I think there's a flathead back here on this back rod. I think there is, man. That yellow bass is not going to be able to take down that rod tip like that. Especially an hour in, however long we've been at this. He's had that hook in his back. Let's get this one up here. This one feels a little better than what we've been catching. Boy, maybe we should just spot locked right here from the start. We worked our way down here. Let's see. This one right here is definitely going to be the biggest one of the morning, but I'm more excited about the one over here on our live bait. Yeah, that's a fun sizer right there. Larger dink, smaller fun size. This fish back here, he's had this bait. I want you to look at that. You see, he's just sitting there with it, man. He's just sitting there with it. I normally like for them to take the bait, load up the rod, get that circle hook, but it's just, he's had it so long now, I just, oh no. Oh, I messed it up. He let go and I picked up on him. Dang, man. Dang. Boy, that yellow bass looks rough too. He's killed him. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can see on camera, but I can see the indentions right here, like he had him. Crap, man. I don't think that was a very big fish that had him. It didn't feel like much weight when I picked up. Let's drop our head bait down here and then we'll deal with this other one over here. But man, I wanted to get him. Y'all, oh man, we got another fish on, y'all. Look right here at this rod. This rod over here, it's slack. This line over here is slack, y'all. The hell's happened here? Why ain't y'all, how are we getting all these bites y'all ain't even feeling? Let's see what's going on here. Well, we got it, hell, he's got it wrapped around our transducer here. What's going on with this? Or is it just this fish? Okay, never mind, I'm stupid. This fish has gotten in this line, I guess, while y'all were watching that flathead over there. Watching that flathead miss the bait. I tell you, if I had fishing partner worth a damn, y'all wouldn't set me up to look like a fool like that. I thought we had another line, or another fish on that line. I swear y'all just set me up and make me look stupid out here. Every time we fish together, it's like this. Yeah, this fish is all up in that line. He got in there while we were waiting on the other fish to never fully eat that bait. My pliers. I know, fish, you made a mess. I hope you feel bad about it too. There. Just for that, I ain't giving you no front camera time. I'm gonna hold you out. He's a fun sizer in length, but skinny, so because he tangled up my lines, I'm gonna call him a larger dink. I wanna we're gonna sit here a little while longer, for sure. We gotta get this line untangled here, obviously. We're going to, boy, this thing, I don't know what the hell he's done. I don't think, hell, I might be making this worse. I thought I was trying to help our cause here. I might be making it worse. Let's see what now. Dadgummit. I'll tell you what I'm gonna have to do. Oh, okay, there's my sinker, never mind. Well, now I don't have to do that. I didn't want to lose my sinker, but since our sinker's right there, we'll just snip that. And now we can just work this free and get our, we'll just retie this leader on. There. All right. Y'all tried to set me up, make me look stupid on that, but joke's on you because it didn't end up being as bad as what you tried to make it to be. I'm pretty good at getting tangles undone, folks. I am resourceful like that. I've had a lot of practice. You think you're pulling one on me when you get everything tangled up, but in reality, I've gotten a few tangles on my own through the years, so I'm well versed in this. All right, let's get another bait down here. We're going to put it, put that other yellow bass on. We got the other one eat, by gosh, just didn't get the size of fish that we wanted to eat him. Dang, man, I never felt that fish hit either. I never felt it. I just looked back, I'm like, oh, that rod tip's over too far. Like the yellow bass just wasn't going to be able to do that, especially an hour in. Like there was no way. As soon as I picked up that happens, man. You either got to crank down on them. You got to, you know, pick up and kind of just gently but firmly pull. You can't Bill dance it jerking the circle hook. But I have so much better success when I show patience and let the fish do it to themselves. Because in the kayak, when you go to like grab your rod and start cranking down, in theory, you would be putting the pressure on that hook and the fish. But in reality, what you're doing is you're actually removing pressure, because when you lean over, you know, that flathead, he had a little weight on the rod tip, right? Well, when I lean back to get the rod, the side of the kayak goes down, the rod tip goes down a little bit, you're taking pressure off. He senses something's different, and it's like, boom, they let go. So that's why I like to just kind of try to set still, be patient, let the fish hook himself, and then once he's hooked, then pick up on the rod. We're gonna switch this fella out though. He had him long enough to kill him. There was a big splash over there I didn't see. We will keep this fella. I need a thumbnail for today's video, so we'll use him for that at some point. May cut him up too and use him as some cut bait. Let's get our other one here. That's a bluegill there. We don't want that. Not right now, anyway. Oh, Lord, they're splashing us. I wish that bluegill would get out of the net. There we go. Bluegill, get out of there. Get back in that bucket. You wasn't supposed to get in that net. All right, y'all turn your heads again while I do some hair cutting here. Oh. Let me show you about this though before I do it. Watch him flare that up, man. Then the ends of them things there, if they prick you, it's like a daggone needle stick, man. So again, if a fish comes up from behind, they flare that out. You got your hook running through there. The circle hook, the point of that hook's gonna be right there when they flare it out, man. It's gonna cause you problems at some point in time. So I just go ahead and just take my shears and give it a little trim. That way we don't have to worry about it. The fish is more vulnerable for attacks, and it's one less thing we have to worry about as far as getting a, I actually need to trim it a little more there. You see, okay, but right here, you see how the hook point is? Let's see if I can turn him. If he flares that thing up and it's way up here, well, then it's in the way of the hook point. So it's, yeah, it's actually going to be okay. But you know what I mean? Like if before I trimmed it, like it was up here, like you're begging for it, man. You're begging for a problem. And I typically like to do it up here in the middle of the back or kind of behind the head, because again, that's, you know, that's where when a fish comes up, I mean, if it's a big fish, I'm gonna hold this thing out here like this. This may be my thumbnail right here potentially. It may be it. But if a fish comes up and eats this thing head first, I want that hook up there near the head. If it's a big fish and just inhales it, it's not so much important, but a fish, if it eats him head first, I want the hook up there, the first half of its body. A lot of people tail hook fish, bait fish, and yeah, you can catch fish doing that, especially if it's smaller bait fish, but in this situation, you get these white bass here that's, I didn't measure this thing, but I'd say he's probably 8-9 inch range. That situation, I want that hook where I want it there, up near the front of it. All right, we're gonna sit here just a little while longer. We had only got one fish out of it, but we had opportunities for others. Y'all just botched it. Did he get everything soaking wet? Okay, you did get a little water on. You probably didn't even see what I was talking about there because that little water drop. All right. Got it squared away now. Yeah, I'm on the brake line. I'm on this brake line right here, y'all. Oh, it's on this side. You got 58 feet of water, or 52 feet now. It drops off to 58 feet over here. You got a shallow flat, a few feet deep up here on top. So we're off that on the bottom brake line, and then right here behind us we got this creek that comes in. So you've got shallow water feeding area up here on the flat. You got shallow water feeding area here in this creek. You've got a deep water retreat right here beside us, and you've got easy way to get to both. So, you know, and fish oftentimes, I'm set up on this brake line. We could be down further down in this hole too. We may slide off there and get down in it before we get back on the move at some point. But the brake lines, you get fish working up and down ledges. Maybe they're not retreating to this hole. Maybe they're just going up and down the ledge. They oftentimes follow the edge of the contours. And I don't know how well you can see that there, but you can see where the lines are real close here. That's signifying the drop. And then the lines get farther apart over here because it goes from like this to more like this, more gradual as it slides off to the deeper part here. And I want to be on that edge where it goes from sharp drop to gradual drop, right on that edge, right on that corner, and follow that corner all the way up and down a ledge. That's what I like to do. You know, so anyway, hate that we missed that daggone fish though. I don't care even if it had been a small flathead. It killed our bait, so I'd have liked to have got it. I really hate that it killed the bait with us only having 2 live yellow bass. We got them bluegill in there, and we'll probably use them bluegill at some point out here, but I just wanted the yellow bass on first because they're bigger, they fight more, they kick more. It's unfortunate, buddy. But by gosh, we had something that had hold of him. We got a bunch of bait right here too. Look at this. See all that right there? That's a school of shad, about 30 feet deep down to about 40 feet deep right there. And there's another fish right up there under it. I'll spin that transducer around. There's a better look here at it. Just kind of hanging out there right here on this brake line, just right above the bottom. I don't even remember what I was talking about now before all that commotion happened. I guess, I was just talking about living your life. You know, you got to have a balance, I think. If you're young and you want to go or bet on yourself to live a long life, go for it. But just know that you're sacrificing your energy, your health, because you're never going to feel better at any point in your life than what you do today. So take advantage of it best you can today. Some people are better at balancing than others. When I'm all in on something, I'm kind of all in. I got to see it through, get to tunnel vision. And I'm thankful now that I did that when I was younger to get to the point I am in life now. But had I died young, if I had died at 29, 30, boy, it would have been a waste, you know. And so, but what I do hate to see is people who grind it out, work their whole lives, hoping to get to a point at age 55, 60, that's when they're going to start living. Because oftentimes it's just too late. By that point, you've got health problems, or your spouse has health problems, or you got family stuff, and it's just, we have windows of time in life for various things. And once the window closes, it's real hard to open it back up. And we only live once, at least to my knowledge. I mean, some of you out there believe in reincarnation and stuff. I don't know what's true and what ain't. But we've got one life to live in the present time. And I want to try to make the most of it and spend as much time doing what I want to do, how I want to do it, as I possibly can. Because when it's gone, it's gone. And I know tomorrow I ain't going to feel as good as I feel today. Especially when you forecast that out 5, 10 years. So anyway, we'll get off that kind of stuff, philosophical crap. I know y'all are sick of hearing it. Instead, let me tell you a story. Not about a man named Jed, but a poor mountaineer that barely kept his family fed. That's the Beverly Hillbillies, in case you all don't remember. But I will tell you a story that's going to make you think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Because it's going to be a little bit out there, but hear me out on this, because I think I can make a compelling case. What's this? Is this a spammer? No, that's my neighbor. He's going to have to wait. My neighbor, he knows I'm out fishing during the morning. I told him that. I don't know why he's messaging me. Anyway, I totally broke my train of thought. Oh, yes, the Bad Judy story. Folks, you're going to think I'm out there, but I'm going to provide you, I feel like I'm a lawyer here with my closing statement, talking to the jury to try to convince you that I had a hex put on me, that I've been cursed, that there was bad Judy placed upon me. So let me provide, like Andy Griffith playing Matlock back in the 80s, I'm going to provide you the evidence and you be the judge. But I ask for you, before you immediately dismiss this, just hear me out and have an open mind with it, okay? So recently, I talked about this on video. I actually showed this on video. I found a rock in my yard, and I was halfway convinced when I found it that it was a meteorite. So I was cleaning some area out around this tree, And I was taking the rocks around this tree and picking them up and throwing them over the fence, get them out of the way. And I get to this rock, and I immediately notice, like, wow, this thing's heavy, like way heavier than the other rocks, and it looks different. It's a completely different looking rock. I was like, man, is this like a meteor or something? And so I did a little research on meteors, and most of them are magnetic. I put a magnet to this rock and it don't do anything. So I'm like, well, it probably ain't a meteorite. Meteor or meteorite, you know what I'm trying to say. A rock that has fallen from the sky is what I thought this thing was. So, nevertheless, it's a pretty cool rock. And I had brought it out in the kayak and showed it on video, because I thought there might be some of y'all out there, geology experts or something, that could maybe identify this. And maybe you have, I don't know. That video has not aired by the point of me filming this video. So you all could have potentially commented and told me exactly what that rock was and exactly where it come from, but I haven't seen it yet because, again, that video has not been published as of the time of me filming this. Oh, hang on. Something's after him. Our live bait, something's after him. Another big splash over there. He got lively. I felt him get lively. Let me shine the live scope. I get this damn live scope. I forget to. I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing on the screen. He got jumpy for some reason, though. Let me see if I can. I think that's him right there. Kind of in and out. That's my front one there. Can't find him. Is that him swimming up there? No, that's a different fish. He would be right in here. He's somewhere over. I'm trying to point that damn transducer at him. It's hard for me to, I can't, it's not like I'm looking ahead of me. I'm looking over here and kind of trying to judge where he would be. I'm pretty sure he's kind of in and out of the screen. I'm pretty sure that's him right there. We'll keep it pointed that way. If something big comes along, then maybe we'll see it here from the eye in the sky. I suck at live scope, man. I've had this thing damn near 3 years, still can't catch diddly poo with it. Right there's something coming up. See that right there? Kind of in and out of the transducer beam, but well, by gosh, something got after him. He got too lively right there. We'll see if it comes back or if something else comes along. As it clouds back, I take my glasses back. Oh, okay, there, something got that one, by gosh. Something got that one. This one's gonna pull a little bit. Come on, fishy. Come back this way. I don't want you getting in that live bait line. Yeah, this one's gonna pull a smidge. We may just end up sitting here a little while. Yeah, this one's giving us a tug here. Now I see him on the screen as I bring him up right there. I don't know if you can see him. We got him up to about 30 feet. Danged old fish. I don't know who he thinks he is. We was trying to focus on that back rod right there. And he's like, well, I'll just show you, Justin. I'll come up here and get the front one. That's fine. I really don't care what rod they hit. I just want them to hit it. That's a nice fish. That's the biggest one of the morning. That's quality fish right there. This fish, man, he don't want me telling you the story of the bad Judy. So he takes back off. I'm gonna convince y'all, I'm gonna make y'all believers in bad Judy when I tell you what's happened over this damn rock. This rock, man. I'm gonna land this fish first, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna provide the Andy Griffith Matlock closing argument, and the jury's all gonna be, they're gonna be like, guilty. I ain't watched an episode of Matlock in years. Oh, Andy Griffith, buddy, that was a hell of a show. Andy Griffith show and Matlock both. If I was a lawyer, I'd get me a gray suit just like Matlock. That's how I would walk into court every time. I'd be dressed up like Matlock. All these lawyers today, you see them on TV set when they're representing athletes and stuff, they got a nice suit, Armani, I guess, a nice tie. I'd walk out there, I'd go strutting out there like Conor McGregor in an Andy Griffith Matlock type suit. That's exactly how I'd go into court. If any of y'all out there, if you ever sue me, don't sue me, please. But if you do, for whatever reason, I'm gonna get me one of them suits just so I can wear in there if I'm the plaintiff or whatever. Oh man, this fish ain't hooked good. This fish ain't hooked good right here. He's got the fly in the whisker. Look at this. We may not land this fish right here, folks. This one's got the fly in the whisker. Why don't you grab a net and net this thing before we lose him? My gosh, what the hell's wrong with you people? You can't. Y'all have set me up for failure today. Every time you fish with me, you let me come out here and setting this. Y'all ain't sitting out here with a soggy underwear on right now because the seat was soaking wet from the drive. Y'all ain't going through that. Now I can't get you into the net of fish either. Let's see if we can get hold of this thing here, or at least let y'all get a better look at him before we lose him, because he is hooked in the daggone whisker for real. Oh, I got him. I got him. For now, I got him. Boy, look at this, folks. Hook come out just like that. Man. I tell you, oftentimes when they're hooked like that, you don't end up landing them. That's a more solid fish, fun size, not a monster, not a dink, in between. Definitely the biggest of the morning so far, and a good time. Nice takedown, which you're going to get a nice takedown when you got 50 feet of line down there. This one ate the chunk with the body or the gut pocket intact. So, yeah. Lucky. We got a little bit lucky that we landed that fish, and you know why we got lucky? Because I broke that daggone hex, the curse that I'm about to tell you about here in a minute. I broke it. I broke the hex, but I was hexed. I had bad Judy on me. Some of you think that's crazy, but we're going to talk about it here in a second. When I get into the bait on, I'm going to walk you through the series of events. My phone keeps going off of it. Probably a spammer there. I'm going to walk you through a series of events that happened. And there's going to be no other argument except the fact that I was cursed, because it was just too much. It's too many coincidences to happen. Let me see who this spammer is. Yeah. We ain't fooling with that nonsense today. We got fish to catch. I'd like to be able to turn that damn phone off when I'm fishing. That's what I'd like to do, but I can't. As you know how it is when you get to be my age and older, you kind of got to have it on because you never know when an emergency is going to happen. You know how it is. Family medical emergency or stuff like that. Certainly wouldn't want to have my phone turned off and miss an important call like that. Hopefully that call never comes, but gotta always be prepared for it. You know how it is. Y'all are in the same situation. I ain't telling you nothing you don't know. Unless you're 15 years old, and then by God, just enjoy your youth. Enjoy your innocence while you still got it. If I could go back in time to any age in life, I'd be 5, 6, 7 years old again. Play with G.I. Joes all day long, not a care in the world. Take a nap every day, which I pretty much do that anyway, but you know what I mean. Like, it was acceptable back in those times. All your meals prepared for you, get your bath drawn for you. We got a pretty good life when we're kids. We sure mess it up as we get older. You know, we got that bait back down. Got some more fish down there near our baits. So there's some fish in the area. We're just gonna sit here for a little while, man. We're gonna keep sitting here until they quit biting. If it slacks off, if we stop getting bit, we'll slide over a little bit, kind of get down deeper part of this hole. If we don't get bit there, then we'll get back on the move. We'll just keep making our way downriver. It will get progressively shallower as we move down. We'll go up to the 40s, and then it'll just kind of be low 40s down through here. Depending on how long we fish, might hit some like 35-foot depths, but it'll be mostly 40s once we come out of this hole. And we may not come out of this hole today. Well, we may sit here for the duration. Don't matter to me. I just want to get bit. You know, that's goal number one, go fishing and get bit. So if we can catch them here, why move? So anyhow, y'all, let me tell you about this curse, this bad Judy. I know you're scoffing at it right now. I know you are. Some of you people out there, you don't believe in bad Judy. It exists. So here's what happened. I'm cleaning out around that tree. I pick up that rock. I'm like, man, this is a meteorite. This thing's heavy. It don't look right. It's different. So I take that rock. I don't throw it over the fence like I did the other rocks. I take it, put it in my pocket, take it in the house, I wash it off, I clean it up. I take it out in the kayak. I show you all on there on that trip in that video. And when I got home that day, I put that rock on my kitchen counter. Well, folks, from the time I picked up that rock, things started to go wrong for me. I had a series of events that were just, the only way you can explain them is just bad luck. But when you have that much bad luck, it can't be a coincidence anymore. So here's everything that happened. I'm going to walk you through step by step. So I pick up that rock the morning of the day that the guy was coming to do my fence. I had hired this drug addict. I don't know if he's a drug addict, but it'll look the part. You know, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. But anyway, I wanted cheap labor. I tried to save $1 to have my fence expanded. And so I had let Daphne the dog out that morning before he was supposed to arrive. And so she's outside doing her thing, and I'm cleaning out around that tree, and that's when I find the rock. Meteorite, whatever the hell it is. Well, I told the story of how everything went wrong with the fence guy. The guy worked 2 hours, messaged me and says, I'm done. I go out there, the fence, yeah, he expanded it all right. It's a total disaster. Everything he done has to be undone so it can be done right. I mean, the guy, he had apparently never put up a fence in his life. He didn't show up with any tools, nothing. Him and his girlfriend, wife, whatever she was, she didn't do anything. She just stood out there in the yard. She did, I take that back, she did do something. She had me sign the contract there that he had drew up, which was a joke. Yeah, but I mean, total disaster. I tried to save a buck, and I end up costing myself more money because I got to pay somebody to do it right. So anyhow, that's thing number one that went wrong. I found that rock right before he came over. And you might say, well, Justin, I mean, that's not bad luck. That's just your own damn stupidity. That's your own fault. You're right. Okay, you're right in that I made the decision to try to save $1, to hire a questionable ethics, questionable moral situation human being to do a job. I didn't properly vet him to make sure that he was capable of doing said job. And so that's on me. I screwed up. So sure, you can say, Justin, that's not bad luck. That's on you. Okay, fine. I'll give you that one. But it happened right after I found the rock. Okay. So, fast forward. Next day, Daphne the dog, YouTube's favorite dog, she's got pink eye. She's got drainage coming from one eye, which then ended up getting in the other eye. She still got pink eye. I had to end up taking her to the vet yesterday, actually, because the medicine I was giving her just wasn't, it was helping, but it wasn't fixing the situation. So I had to go, we'd get her different medicine yesterday. Anyway, so fence problem. Daphne the dog gets pink eye. Probably got it at the vet when I had her boarded. But nevertheless, bad luck for me and Daphne that she ends up pink eye. More so for her than me, but still. So then I go out there and I film what would have been the last catfishing trip for regular audience. And I took that rock with me on the trip. Now, we had a hard time getting bait, but we got some. We didn't catch many fish, but I got a couple good blues and I got that big flathead. So that part at least went right. But we had some bad luck while we were out there on the trip. We had that anchor rope disaster. We had that fit. We had to cut all the lines and everything and retie everything because of all the tangled mess. We had some bad luck while we were out there on the water, right? Minor stuff, but still a little bit of bad luck, something that don't normally happen on every trip. Well, prior to going out on that trip, I had checked the weather report for the Alabama tournament, and it was looking okay. They had that tropical storm, hurricane, whatever it was, blow through. And the weather was supposed to be better for tournament day. The winds weren't going to be as bad, and it was just going to be a light rain. Well, the weather report changed. And I can only assume it was because that rock was in the kayak, and I was out there talking about leaving out for the tournament the next day, so it changed the weather and caused the weather to be really bad in Alabama. High winds, monsooning all day on tournament day. And so I decided not to go. You can again say, well, Justin, that's on you because you're a pansy and you didn't want to fish in a monsoon. And that's true, I don't. I'm a fair weather fisherman, I own that. But I had fully planned on going and fishing in the light rain. It wasn't until it switched and the wind was picking up in the monsoon that I decided not to go. That's bad luck that the weather forecast changed. So the tournament happens. They had 7 people. So that was the lowest turnout for a tournament that we've had in 2 years, 3 years, however long the tournament trail's been going on. The lowest turnout by a mile. Hardly anybody went. So nevertheless, they had the tournament. And the one guy I didn't need to win, my buddy Ryan Bortz, Bottle Rocket Bortz as I call him, I needed him to not win and not get big fish. I had the Angler of the Year points lead going into that tournament. And as long as Ryan didn't win and get big fish, I would have still had the points lead regardless of who else won the tournament. Well, what do you know? Ryan wins and gets big fish. So, you know, I'm thinking like, man, boy, this just ain't my week. This ain't my weekend here. Again, you know, I got the problem with the fence guy. I'm gonna have to shell out all this extra money to have it done right. Daphne's got pink eye. We had all that anchor rope nonsense there out on the water. The weather report changes, knocks me out of going to Alabama. Ryan wins the Alabama tournament. Now I'm knocked out of Angler of the Year. I'm like, man, I'm just having a series of just bad luck. You know, any one of these things, you just chalk it up to stuff happens. But when it's all happening, and it's all happening in a row, look at this, big takedown on the live bait. Here we go, that's a big takedown. I can't get the rod out the rod holder. I can't get it out. This is huge. This is huge. Oh boy. That bait bucket shifted, it about took me overboard. This is huge. This is a big fish. Big fish on our yellow bass. This is a big one. I think it's a flathead too. I never felt him bite. I felt the kayak, I felt it just pulling me over. I felt it pulling me over in the kayak. I never felt a thump. I never felt him hit it, nothing. Nothing. He just took it over. Oh, here comes a houseboat too. This is a really good fish. So much for the damn live scope. I never saw him coming on the screen either. Maybe he did, maybe I wasn't paying attention. I'm so focused on telling you my Matlock Andy Griffith plead my case here. Maybe I didn't see it coming, but this is a good one, man. Oh, buddy. I'm just hanging on. I'm not even trying right now to like crank down. I can't. Like he's just full force, just down there, man. This is solid weight. This is solid weight right here. I really hope we get this fish up. I know it's a flathead. I know it is. I know it down to my loins. I know it. This is what I wanted today. This is why I come here this time of year. This is what I wanted. I knew I would have a chance at it today. Most of my big flatheads, like I said, I've gotten on cut bait through the years, but anytime I get a live bait, a yellow bass that size, a red horse sucker, 8 to 10 inches, a drum 8 to 10 inches, like you get those size baits, those particular baits, like you're gonna have a chance, man. You're gonna have a chance at big fish. We're putting on a show here for Houseboat. Y'all wave, I got my hands full. He's being polite, he's idling by. But I've got my hands full. I can't do the courtesy wave right now. I'm hanging on both arms here. He probably thinks I'm snagged over there. He'll be like, that damn guy in the kayak, he's snagged. I am snagged. I'm snagged in a big fish. Real big fish. Oh, this is just solid, man. This is just solid. I mean, I can't make any progress on him here. He's just doing what he wants. He's just down there, buddy. Man. This time of year, though, you start getting into fall. The leaves are just starting to turn here in East Tennessee. Water temps are starting to cool a little bit. Days are getting shorter. The flathead bite picks up every year. And when I'm suspending baits, I get them a whole lot more frequent. I rarely catch a flathead dragging, rarely. Suspending baits or anchored down and casting out on bottom, I get flatheads. But even though this technique, this suspending, it's produced less fish lately than dragging. As far as the blues goes, I love doing this, and the time of year is right, and we're getting rewarded today. At least so far anyway. We may not get a look at this thing. Something could go wrong, maybe we don't land him, whatever, but right now things have worked out for us today. Y'all, I'll tell you what, my arm's getting tired. We really haven't made any progress on him, I don't think. Maybe a little bit now, finally getting him up a little bit. I got a feeling though, he's gonna take back off. We get him up here, this is gonna be a beast, man. This right here is gonna be everything we had hoped for. On that daggone live yellow bass. Check your local laws and restrictions and all that before you go putting on yellow bass as bait. Some states probably don't allow it. Legal bait here in Tennessee. I don't catch them too frequently, but when I do, big flathead. Big flathead right there, folks. That's a beast. The beast from the east right there. That's my biggest one in a while. Nice. Definitely bigger than the one I got there on the last catfishing session. Whoo! He's hooked good too, he ain't going nowhere. Oh man, look at that thing right there, buddy. The beast from the east. Yes, y'all, yes, we got him. This is what I wanted today. Man, that fella that sent a comment, why do I get excited over a fish I'm just gonna release? Man, again, if you don't get it, you ain't never gonna get it. I can't explain it to you, but I feel it right now. This is what I wanted. This is what makes me excited right here. Let's get this thing over here and land him. Oh man, we're gonna have to be careful. I about flipped us out of this kayak when I leaned over trying to get the rod out the rod holder because of the bait bucket, the weight of it sliding over. We definitely don't want to take a swim today. I don't care how good a day you're having fishing wise. You go for a swim, the day's a little worse. Here, I'm gonna put y'all up here while I land this thing. I'll get rid of these glasses too for a second here. Yes. Oh man. Easy, buddy, easy, easy now, easy. Easy, easy peasy, George and Wheezy. Got him, I got him, I got him. Oh. Come on in, buddy. Nice. That's a trophy flathead right there, man. That's a trophy. Yes. Oh man, this is awesome. Live yellow bass. Never felt him inhale it. Didn't feel him eat it, just felt the kayak. I felt the kayak tipping. And that's the best feeling in the world, man. Oh. Nice. Oh man. Oh, that's a beast, man. That is a heavy fish. I'm so happy about this, y'all. Oh man, this made my day. I had a good feeling about today. I had a good feeling about it. And it's paid off. Here's what I want to do for a second. Y'all bear with me just a second here. Let me take this camera. I want to just show you this fish. Just take a look at this thing. Look at the head of him, man. Look how big he is. I don't have my board. He's well over 40 inches, probably 45-ish, probably 42 inch, 45 inch, maybe a little longer. It's a beast. That's what he is. He's a daggone beast, man. Here's what I want to do though. I want to get a picture with this fish, like a good picture. And to do that, I need my other camera. The camera that I film with doesn't get as good of pictures as this camera. So I just want to, y'all bear with me a second, would you? Give me just a minute here. Give me just a minute here. I'm gonna set you down because he's gonna get this all. Let me put you, where can I put y'all that y'all ain't gonna get knocked out of the kayak? Here, let me set you. Let me just set you. Let me set you right here a minute. Here, y'all sit right there and act like somebody, would you? While I just hold this fish up and get a picture. I'll be just a second. Man, this is awesome. All right. Okay, folks. All right. I've held this fish out long enough. Let's get it back. Let me get back hold of y'all again. Thanks for bearing. Hey, y'all are good fishing partners after all. Thanks for bearing with me through that while I could get a better picture there. That makes me happy. That one's Instagram worthy right there. Oh man, let's get him out of here. Let's send him home. That's a good fish, buddy. My gosh, that makes me so happy. Now he's ready to go too. I was going to try to revive him a little bit here because I had him out way too long. I hate doing that to fish. I just got excited. Haven't caught one this big in a while, and yeah, he's ready to go. Oh man, it was everything I'd hoped for. Yes. Yes, man, that makes me excited. What a battle, man. That fish was so strong. Start to finish on that fight, man, it was just solid weight, just pulling solid weight. Hell, I got slime, I got mud and slime all over me. You know it's a good day when you're covered in slime, man. Uh-oh, back rod now. This one's going down. No rest for the wary, folks. We're hooked up again. I think we're gonna sit here the rest of the morning. We're gonna sit here, we ain't moving. We're just gonna stay right here. I told you why I've set up here, why I've spot locked here like I have. This is a type of place that I see it on a map and I'm like, I know it's a matter of time. It's one of those type places. It's like, it's not if, it's when. Now, it may not work out every day. Certain places like this one here, seasonally is going to be better than other times. You can get bit here certainly any time of year. You got a reasonable expectation, reasonable chance. But certain times of year, certainly going to be better. But when I see places like that, I'm like, man, I know. And again, every daggone year, I've been able to bust a big flathead through here. Every year. I mean, go back on my channel years and years. Oh, I'm still excited. I'm still shaking, man. This fish is just the blue here, small blue. Oh, I'm pumped up. I am pumped up, man. Come here, you know that. I was telling you about that bad Judy. I know for sure I've got it off of me now that we catching that fish. I know for sure it's gone. Because you can't catch a fish like that while having bad Judy on you. You can get some of them like this with bad Judy, but you ain't getting a big flathead like that. Not with bad juju on you. I'm gonna give this fish some bad juju if he don't calm down and let me get this hook out. There we go, all right. Little blue. Oh man, I'm still shaking, y'all. Let's get some more baits down there. You know what? That fish right there, that flathead, I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm trying to process in my brain. I think that might have been it's not the biggest flathead I ever caught, but it might be the biggest one I've ever gotten on live bait, actually. Because again, most of my biggest flatheads historically have come on cut bait, which again, everybody argues me about. But I think that might have been my biggest one ever on a live bait, potentially. So, yeah. Whew. Man, y'all, man. That makes me excited. Whew. Okay. Let's get baited up again. First off, let's get another live bait on this rod. I don't have any more live yellow bass. We're out of those. I only got them 2. But it's okay because we had another live bait. Not as good a quality. Definitely not my favorite live bait. Some of yous like them. Some of yous it's your favorite bait. But it is at least something we can put on a hook that's alive and will kick around. So if these fish want a live bait today, we've got an option for them, and it is a bluegill. I put 2 or 3 bluegill in there. I caught a bunch more bluegill yesterday, but I didn't want to overcrowd that bucket because I didn't want to risk killing off them yellow bass before we could get out here today. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to. Oh, excuse me. Let me turn away from the camera while I give this bluegill a haircut here before I put this hook in. Don't want anybody being offended over here. Don't want to get flagged on a day like today where we got the giant flathead. I'm pretty sure that might be my biggest ever on live bait though. I really think that. Okay, so here's next live bait going down, bluegill. Not my favorite bait, but it is something alive that will be kicking around down there. So, you know what? It's in the water, it's kicking, it's got a hook in it, it's got a chance. If we got another big flathead comes along, then maybe he'll be tempted by it. Okay, so now we need to replace the other piece of cut bait that had the gut pocket cut out of it. Whew, man, I am still, y'all, I could feel the adrenaline in me, like I'm still feeling it. I'm still coming off the high. Crap, I didn't cut that gut pocket out. I can't even focus. I gotta tell y'all, I gotta do my closing arguments on the Matlock court case here to convince you all that Bad Judy exists, and I can't even focus. Oh man. That's the biggest flathead I've caught in a while. I have had overall a pretty unproductive year as far as flatheads. Like my numbers wise of flatheads that I've caught this year has been way down. Now, part of that has been where I have fished at for, you know, a big part of the year. Part of it has been because I've spent so much time dragging baits this year, just for mainly getting ready for tournaments and stuff. That's certainly a big part of it. Even days where I have suspended, a lot of my suspending time have been trolling, and I typically, and I don't know why this is, but I typically do better for flatheads when I am sitting still, whether it's anchored and I've got baits cast out sitting on bottom, or if I'm suspending and I've got myself spot locked or anchored and I'm just sitting still. typically do better for flatheads then. I get some suspending while I'm actively moving, whether drifting or trolling, but just, you know, historically speaking, when you look back at all the flatheads I've caught and how I've caught them, most of them have come while I'm suspending baits and sitting still. Okay, that's just, especially the big ones. Y'all, man, I am still pumped up right now. I'm gonna tell you the story. We're gonna finish the story off. I'm gonna get rid of the story because I know what I have done has worked now that I got that big flathead. I know what I have done to remove the hex has worked. So I told you about all the just bad luck stuff that had happened there. The fence, the shenanigans when we fished the last catfish trip together, Daphne pink eye, the weather forecast changing, Ryan winning and getting big fish, knocked me out of the Angler of the Year, and it gets better. So, since I didn't go to Alabama, I sat home, I watched football all weekend. Like the stereotypical fat guy on the couch, eating unhealthy snacks, feet up, watching football the whole time. Like, that's what I did. Well, a lot of you out there know, oh, we got a fish on this back rod now. Back rod. We just dropped that bait back down. It's barely been down there a minute. These fish don't want me telling you this story. Here comes Bass Boat Man. He ain't interested in this fish. It'd get slime on his carpet there. He'd be tore up about it. He'd have to have his boat detailed. If he got one speck of catfish slime on that boat's carpet, he'd have to go change his tampon or something. Or maxi pad, whatever he uses. That's sexist. I can't say that anymore. I can't say them kind of jokes anymore, y'all. I've offended some more women on my channel. I'll tell you that story here in a minute too. Don't let me forget to tell you that. This is a fascinating story about how I've upset these women. But I want to get out this Bad Judy story first after we get rid of this fish here. I'll tell you what, we own some fish now, ain't we? We couldn't buy fish coming down this ledge, but we get down here and we stop. Now, like I said, you know, I thought some fish might be a little bit more active first thing. Maybe they might be working up the ledge. Maybe they're up on the flats, whatnot. But as the morning goes on, maybe if they weren't just here, they might be retreating back to this area. And if they were, we would have a bait here in their way, ready to catch them. So that's a larger dink right there. You know, another eater-sized fish, I guess you'd call it, if you were somebody who eats fish. Definitely wouldn't eat them out of here, that's for sure, with all the contamination and whatnot, but some people do. I don't care. If they want to eat some of them fish, at least that size, I don't want them eating the big ones, but if they want to eat that size right there and risk getting cancer because all the warnings and everything, if they want to ignore those warnings at all the boat ramps, that's on them. I ain't gonna tell them how to live their lives. Ain't none of my business. I'm gonna get this bait on. We didn't have that bait down there long, did we? We didn't have it down there long at all. Maybe a minute. And I don't know that it mattered so much that the gut pocket's out, but I have had times in the past where I leave a gut pocket in on a chunk, it don't get hit. I have another rod out there with a gut pocket cut out and it does get hit. So oftentimes if I'm fishing in this kayak where I can have 4 rods out, I will oftentimes take one bait and cut out a gut pocket. If I'm really on a bite where they're really showing a preference, well, I'll cut it out of the other chunk too. Just depends. But I don't know if it made a difference there, but that fish did eat the one with the gut pocket cut out, so we'll do another one. think this is that same houseboat that went up earlier. How awesome would it be if we caught another fish, another big fish, as he's coming back down? He'd probably think we still hooked up to the same daggone fish. He'd think we had a whale on out here or something. He'd be like, man, that guy, I thought he was snagged, but he may be the best fisherman of all time. That's what he'd be thinking. So, anyhow, the Bad Judy. So I told you about all that stuff that happened. Well, I spent the weekend watching football. And when it comes to college football, I'm a Tennessee fan through and through. You know, go Vols. But outside of Tennessee, I like the NFL game more than I do college football. Especially now that college has gotten so, it's almost pro-like with the NIL money and buying players and all that, stacking these teams, the transfer portal. It's like minor league for the NFL, I feel like. And who the hell wants to watch minor leagues? I mean, minor league baseball can't even get a TV deal. Nobody wants to watch. Nobody goes to games. So outside of Tennessee playing, I did watch the Georgia-Kentucky game, mainly because I thought Kentucky maybe had a chance to beat Georgia. I should have known better. That's always, you can't rely on Kentucky for anything. But I was pulling for them. It's one of the few times you'll ever see me pulling for Kentucky. But when they played Georgia in the football game, I was go Big Blue, go Wildcats. Just Kentucky was Kentucky, though. So anyway, I'm more of an NFL guy as far as watching football. And every year, I play in a Survivor League. I've done it for probably 10 years. Whenever Survivor Leagues kind of come out and became popular, I got in it pretty early on. And I enjoy the hell out of it. It's fun. I look forward to it every year. And if you're not familiar, maybe you're not a football fan or not familiar with Survivor Leagues, I'll kind of explain to you quickly how it works, the process. So every week in the NFL, you pick a winner. No point spread. You just take a game and pick the team you think is going to win. If that team wins, you move on to the next week. If you lose, you're out. You're out of the league for the year. Now, you might think, well, that's pretty easy. No point spread. Just pick the most heavily favored team every week. You probably have a good chance. Well, it don't work like that, because once you pick a team and that team wins and you move on, you can't pick that team again the rest of the season. So once you get down toward the end of the season there becomes strategy involved. Like you're having to maybe pick some bad teams and kind of hope to get lucky that they pull off an upset, or maybe you got to pick some bad teams early in the year so you can save some of the better chances to win till later on. Like there's some strategy involved. But I play it every year. I always look forward to it. And I'm sitting there that weekend with all this Bad Judy happening. Every day it's been something happen. Every single day since I picked up this rock, this meteorite. So I thought. Every day since then, something had happened. Well, I'm sitting there on Sunday, and I was watching the game, the Cincinnati and Kansas City game. Hell of a game. High five to the refs on that one. They did a hell of a job winning that game for Kansas City. But that game ends, and the broadcast goes to the Ravens and Raiders game. Now, I had taken the Ravens as the team in my Survivor League. Week 2 of the NFL season. Week 2. And CBS cuts over to that game after the Kansas City game ends, and I'll be damned, I had to sit there and watch the Ravens knock me out of Survivor League in week 2. Week 2. Y'all, do you know how embarrassing that is? As somebody that's an NFL fan like me, like, it's embarrassing to get knocked out of Survivor League in week 2. Like, it would be like if I fished a tournament on my home waters and got skunked and got beat by, a gazillion inches or something. That's what that would be like, getting knocked out of Survivor League in week 2, and I'll be damned if it didn't happen. And so, I'm like, I can't believe this. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm angry at the TV. I'm like yelling at the TV, of course. Heck with, I don't know if Lamar Jackson goes fishing or not. He's the quarterback for Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if he's into fishing, but if he is, I hope the next time he goes, he gets skunked. In fact, I hope he gets skunked on his next 5 trips out for what he's done to me. So I lose on Survivor League. I'm knocked out. And I'm pissed off, man. I'm yelling at the TV, cussing and stuff. And so I say to Daphne, I said, dog, come on, let's go outside. We're going to run off some energy out here. I'm going to go out there and ride the bike, chase her around the yard. And I'm going to walk out my kitchen door, and I look down on my kitchen counter, and there sits that rock. That, what I thought was a meteorite that had fallen from the sky, from outer space. And I'm like, it just clicked. It clicked in my mind. I'm like, okay, I get it now. This rock, it's not from outer space. It's not from the heavens. It has somehow transported through the gates of hell. Because ever since I picked up that rock, right after that, the fence guy shows up, and then every day since, something's went wrong. And again, it's not bad stuff. Like, you know, life-altering stuff. There's not illnesses. There's not a car wreck. You know, nothing bad. But it's just something that's just, you would just chalk up to being kind of bad luck. Sure, the fence guy, that's my fault. I took the cheap way out, made a bad decision. Daphne, I had her boarded while I went to Alabama there pre-fishing. She probably picked up pink eye while she's at the vet. Tangles happen when you're fishing. Weather forecasts change. Ryan's a good fisherman. He's won a lot of tournaments. You know, he could have easily won that tournament down there regardless. Lamar Jackson, he finds a way to choke every year, whether it's playoffs or missing the playoffs, whatever. Of course, the Raiders maybe have a chance to beat him in week 2. But when you take all of these things and you stack them up in a row, it gets to a point where it's not coincidence anymore. It can't be. You can't have that many bad luck things happen in a row without something being the cause of it. And I'm like, man, it all started when I picked up this rock. And so I took that rock, man. I grabbed it off my kitchen counter. I walked it back down there to the tree in the exact spot where I had found it. Same side of the tree, right there at the base of it. I placed it back on the ground in front of that tree, and I said, rock, meteorite, devil's demon child, whatever it is that you are, I'm sorry. I apologize for removing you from your final resting place here in this tree. If you will please just remove this hex that you have put upon me, I promise I will never touch you again. I will mow around you. You will never be disturbed again. And I left that rock there, just hoping for the best. And you know what? Since I done that, life has turned around. Daphne's eyes, they looked, I had to take her to the vet yesterday. I had to go get a different medicine, but this morning they looked as good as they've looked in a while now. I think we've turned the corner on it. We come out here fishing today. Well, actually, even that, before that, yesterday after we got done with the vet, I went out and I caught us some bait. And what do you know? I got us a cooler full of skipjack, and I got us some yellow bass here. Best day of skipjack fishing I've had here since I found the damn rock. And then we come out here today and we land a big flathead. Folks, I'm telling you, you know, look, things happen in life. We all go through ups and downs. There's good luck, there's bad luck, good fortune, bad events. You know, it all happens. It all works itself out one way or the other in the end. Everybody has some good and some bad. But I'm just telling you, when you get a series of bad luck events all in a row, you have to ask yourself the question, is there bad Judy on me? Did something happen? Did somebody put a hex on me? Did I walk under a ladder? Something. Something had to be the cause of it. I think that's that other houseboat that went by earlier. They just going up and down out here today. At least the houseboats that went by have been friendly. They've idled by. They didn't blow by 40 miles an hour and put off a giant wake. I'm gonna tell you, it's rare out here on Tennessee River. It's rare that you have a courteous houseboater. Normally they blow by full speed, huge wakes. Both of these fellas that have went by today have been fairly considerate. I tell you, when that bait bucket, when it shifts, when it slides, buddy, when I reached over for that rod on the big flathead and that bait bucket shifted, me and you, we about went for a swim. But anyway, y'all, yeah, so that was the series of events. And again, nothing catastrophic. You know, I didn't get sick, I didn't get hurt, I didn't die, I didn't do any major damage. I mean, the fence is going to be extra expense, but you know, not like wrecking a car or major expense of some kind. But I mean, it was just every day it was something. And by the time we got to the end of the weekend there, and I'm walking out the door to go chase Daphne on the bike after Baltimore just kicked me in the nuts and embarrassed the hell out of me, knocking me out on week 2, I'm like, it's got to be that rock. It has to be that meteorite or whatever it is, man. Like, it's cursed. So it's sitting down there in front of that tree, and I'll never touch it again, ever. I won't. I apologized to it. I said my piece, begged for mercy, and so far it seems like I have gotten mercy. So I'm hoping all is right with the universe again. I know some of you are going to scoff at that. You're going to think Justin's nuts. He's done gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Well, you know what? You can think that all you want, and you might be right. But all I know is I picked up that rock, things started going wrong. I apologized to it, put it back where I found it, and now things are going right again. So, regardless of what you all might think or believe, I'm happy with my decision. And by gosh, we got us a big flathead today, so I don't know. But I mean, you see stuff like that. That kind of stuff happen. How many times, y'all out there in internet land right now, y'all are fishermen. You buy a new piece of fishing gear. Do you usually catch a big fish on it as soon as you take it out? Do you catch anything on it day one? Oftentimes you get a new piece of gear, you might have to fish with it 4 or 5 trips before you get all the Judy off where you can actually catch something with it. It usually has bad luck on it. Now, I know I ain't alone in that. So I think bad Judy exists. I think there's bad energy out there. You know, whether it's demonic, whether it's just its own entity, I don't know, but I think there's bad energy and I think it can get on us. Whether it's picking up objects, being around negative, toxic people, just being in the wrong place, you know, whatever. I think we can pick up this stuff sometimes. And, you know, I'm not telling you if you're having a bad day to go burn some sage and dance around backwards or something, but you might want to, if a bunch of bad stuff's happening in a row, you might want to evaluate your life and see, like, what changed? Did something new come into my life? Like, you know, it's worth a shot. If you got a bunch of bad stuff going on, hell, it's worth a shot just to change something. You know, if I had made peace with that rock and things kept happening, well, then maybe I'd know it wasn't the rock. But the fact that I did that and then life immediately got better, I'm just saying. I think if I was Matlock in that gray suit pleading the case in front of the jury in 1980s, I think they're voting in my favor. I think they're going to believe me. I don't know if you all will. Nowadays, everybody's a conspiracy theorist. Everybody's skeptic. You know, nobody believes anything anymore. So you may not believe me when I tell you this, but 1980s, I'd have got the conviction, buddy. Matlock, I know he would have. We got another fish right there. Did you see him? He's gone now. He'd come up around our bait, circled around. That's a different fish there, I think. I saw one down here. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna move now, y'all. We've got that big flathead. I mean, if we just stop getting bit for a while, maybe we move, but we've gotten several bites now, including the flathead, so I think maybe we just ride it out here. If we move, maybe we slide over just a little bit deeper, get down in this hole. Because these fish we got, we don't know. Where I'm positioned, we can catch them multiple ways. We can get them working down into this hole. If they come out of this creek, they come out, they follow that break line down to the hole, they're coming to us. If they're up here on this flat, they come back down this break line to this hole, they're going to come through us. If they're working along the ledge and they're just following that break line, they're coming through us. And if they're in that hole, over here to our right, with as much bait now as we've dropped down, rebaiting and stuff, and just the other fish kicking around causing a commotion, like the scent has had to disperse enough by now for them to be able to find us over here and come get it. So, you know, we've got a lot of options to be able to catch fish no matter how it is that they're working through here. We're set up in a way that I feel like we're going to be able to intercept them. So, you know, us sitting here, you know, if I fish another 2 or 3 hours, however long we fished today, even if we stop getting bit for a while, there's a reasonable expectation that you may still continue to get bit periodically as fish turn on or as they move through, whatever. I like places like this. You know, sometimes if you are spot locked or anchored and you're fishing let's say you're fishing an object of some kind. Maybe, well, there's Rover over there. Rover knows we're here. He'd have really been barking if he had seen that flathead earlier. Let's say out here in middle of the channel or something, you have found a tree, a rock pile, some sunken object, okay? And maybe it's kind of out in the channel, off the break line, off the ledge, just kind of out there. There may be fish on that. It's a piece of cover for them, it's a place to rest, a place to hide. There could be fish on that. But if there's not fish on it, you can waste a lot of time there, because that's the type of thing, a type of place where fish are either, they're going to be there or they're not. Now, when you set up in a place like we are here today, boy, Rover's upset with you. What did you do to Rover over there? I'm kind of a dog person myself, you know. I don't think Rover would be mad at me. But you set up on a place kind of like where I've described here today, or a creek mouth, or the tip of a point, something like that, you know fish are going to kind of work through them areas. Now, you don't know when, you don't know how many fish are going to work through, but if I set up on a deep point, let's say I'm on a deep point somewhere, I know there's bait up on that point, so fish are going to come out of the channel, they're going to work up on it at some point. I don't know when, but I know if I put in enough time there, there's a reasonable expectation that I'm going to get bit, because fish are going to work through it. At some period of time during the day or night, fish are going to work through. They're going to have to pass through my baits, moving from their deep water sanctuary up on that shallow point, or up higher up on that point to feed in the shallows, right? So it's a matter of time. It's timing it at that point. But when you're fishing objects that are just random places, man, you go out there one day, it may be stacked with fish. There may be 50 fish on that thing. You go out there the next 10 times, there may not be a fish on it. And you could sit there for hours and hours and hours and never get a bite, because there's nothing there. So I don't spend a lot of time on places like that, fishing objects per se, unless I find them in places where I think fish are going to be moving through anyway. Let's say right here where we're at, let's say there was a big tree or something there, or a rock pile, a mussel bed, some difference in the bottom composition. Maybe it goes from like a mud bottom to a gravel bottom. Because sometimes on those transitions, you'll find fish just kind of hanging out. If you find that on a break line or on, you know, maybe on the end of a point or a creek mouth or on a hump or something like that, well, that's different. Because then you're going to, you know, those fish are going to be working through anyway. And if you got something there that's different, an object, change of bottom comes in, like then they're going to be more likely to stay there and kind of linger around for a little bit longer, hang out there. So you may get fish that are stacked up on that spot, and then you may also get more fish working through that spot on a given day. But anyway, that's kind of how I'm set up here as we've made our way down. You know, obviously we started up here, we kind of worked that break line down, just trying to maybe intercept fish that I thought maybe have come out of this hole and have worked upriver this morning, thought we might run into them on the way down. That clearly didn't work out. Maybe they wasn't up there, maybe they had, instead of going up the river, maybe they went up on the ledge here, maybe they went up on this flat, maybe they went back in that creek, who knows? Yeah, I don't have tracking devices on these fish. There's no way of knowing. But if you work them break lines and you put your baits where fish are going to travel or where they're going to be, and you do that long enough, you're eventually going to get bit. And that's true whether you dragging, suspending, anchoring, bumping, whatever the hell it is you like to do, you're going to get bit. Now, you will find, and we've seen this lately, there'll be one technique maybe that outproduces another, maybe one type of bait, one cut of bait that outproduces. Fish will show preferences. Maybe they'll snub their nose. It may not be that they're not there. They may just be snubbing their nose at you. But you just, you put a quality bait in fish's face long enough, or in their path long enough, good things are going to happen to you. It's good things happen. You have good trips, you have bad trips. I talked about that on a recent video where how over the course of the year, everything just kind of averages out. And so, anyhow, that's my spill on that, I guess. What else was I going to tell you? There was something a minute ago. I said, don't let me forget to tell you. And now you have done let me forget to tell you what you wasn't supposed to forget. You can't rely on me to remember anything these days. Hell, I can't remember yesterday. Oh, I know what it was. Let me get me a swig here, y'all. I got the cottonmouth. Let me get me a swig of this. I'm going to tell you about this fella. Well, I say fella, I could be. I shouldn't assume a gender. So, you know me, I sit out here, I talk and I tell stories, and if I'm with other people, I do a lot of trash talking. I'll look back at some of my videos with Daniel, my buddy Daniel, or Ryan Bottle Rocket Bort's there. I mean, we give each other hell. It's what friends do. But surprisingly, they say it's like 10% of the population doesn't pick up on sarcasm. They don't understand sarcasm. So a lot of the times when I say stuff, whether it's to somebody I'm fishing with, where I'm just giving them a hard time, just joking around with them, or if we got something going after bluegill here, something, he got lively. He got lively for a second. If I say something, it oftentimes gets misinterpreted. Maybe, you know, it's one of those people that don't pick up on sarcasm, or don't really understand jokes. Maybe I was joking and the joke just wasn't funny. maybe it's somebody that's just their own life experience or whatever. Maybe they're a little bit more sensitive to whatever I said. And so maybe even though I didn't mean it in a malicious way, they took it that way because of whatever's going on or has went on in their life. Things happen. Listen, I come out here, I film for 3, 4, 5 hours. Boy, something big splash behind us right there, man. But, you know, you come out here, you film for 3 to 5 hours, you talking, you saying stuff, and I'm putting out, I don't know how many videos a month, 10, 12 videos a month, whatever it is. It's inevitable I'm going to say some stuff that just ain't going to land right with people. Especially when you reach I mean, if I was getting 5 views a video and it was 5 of my best friends watching, then it wouldn't matter what I said. Nobody would care. But when I'm getting lots of views from people all over the world in all different backgrounds of life, inevitably, I talk this much, I'm going to say some stuff that is going to upset some people, whether I meant to do it or not. And one of the things that has often upset people is if I crack on women. And I'll tell you why I make jokes about women. Because before this YouTube crap took off for me, my job, my profession, what I went to school for and what I was working at was a nurse. I was a nurse. I worked ER from, well, I started, my first nursing job was 2004. That's when I was an LPN first. I was an LPN from 2004 to 2009, and then I became an RN. I went back to school, got my degree, became an RN. I worked as an RN in the ER from 2009 until I left to do this YouTube crap full time back in 2020. So basically most of my career, I worked with predominantly women. And ER, it's a pretty stressful job. I mean, it's high pressure, high stress, you know, you're working with sick and injured and oftentimes life-threatening situations. There's a lot at stake in that environment. You make a wrong decision, the right decision don't get made quick enough, people die, you know, it's a stressful environment, it's very busy, long hours, it's a stressful environment. And so when you work in that environment, typically you are going to be working with really cool people. You know, it's going to be people that can talk some trash. You definitely got to be people that can, you know, you got to be somebody that has the right kind of attitude to stick around in that environment, right? And so, you know, again, most of my career I'm working with women. And throughout your shift, every day you go to work, you know, we're all taking little jabs at each other and picking at each other a little bit and stuff and whatnot. And so what's the best way to get a rise out of a woman is to, especially if you're a man, is to oftentimes make jokes about women and stuff. And so in that environment, it's all in good fun. Because, you know, you're working with them, everybody's friends, you know, you all know each other, you know that they're, you know, if they make some man-hater joke, or if I make some a woman joke or something like that, it's all in good fun because we all know each other. There's no malicious intent behind it. It's just lightening the mood for whatever's going on in our hectic day there. But, you know, I've done that for so long. I come out here and I'm talking and something pops in my mind, and, you know, and I say something, and I'm saying that to a different. It's one thing when you're working in that environment with people who know you and whatnot, and we're all kind of, you know, doing it to each other back and forth throughout the day. And it's another when I do that to an audience of people all over the world who don't know me from Adam. Could be their very first time ever watching my video, and here I am saying something. And so I think it maybe gets misinterpreted sometimes as malicious when it's just me just talking crap, you know, just being stupid, just being ridiculous. And so anyway, I've had through the years with this YouTube stuff, I have had numerous comments from women. And my women audience, my female audience is very small. Well, I mean, I say that, it's like 10% of my audience is female, according to the analytics numbers there that Google gives us access to. As you know, Google, man, they monitor everything. Google knows everything about all of us. And so they share some of those numbers, the demographics and whatnot. They share that. If you're a YouTuber, you can pull up your audience and see what percentage of your audience is male and female, the age brackets that you're, well, that was a big splash. The age brackets that are watching your video, where people are located, what geographic region, whatnot. That's how I know that 10% of my audience is women. That's how I know that such a big portion of my audience watches from Texas. Like, I know these things because Google tells me. And so anyway, through the years, I get a fair number of comments from women, which, I mean, I guess if you do the math, if I get, I'm still getting over 1 million views a month right now. 10% of that, I mean, that's over 100,000 views from women. So, plus that's not counting maybe the girlfriends and wives and stuff that are watching with their husbands. So it's being counted by Google as a male viewer, but the female is also watching too because she's there on the couch with you or whatever. So a lot of women see my stuff, and a lot of women are offended anytime I take a shot. Joking or aside, you know, they don't know me, and so I cut them a pass on that. I don't take offense to it. I don't take offense to them being offended. I'm not going to change how I do things because, I mean, I am who I am. If what I do or what I say bothers you, then, I mean, I suggest finding another channel to watch. There's 50 million YouTube channels and gazillions of videos, so just watch somebody else. If it's silly, it's dumb, and I am kind of taking a shot at people now, I guess, but it's stupid to watch something that triggers you, or a person that triggers you. Why do it to yourself? I'm not doing it to you because I'm not coming to your house and forcing you to watch me. You voluntarily clicked on this video to watch it. Or if your boyfriend or husband is sitting on the couch watching me, you chose to sit down there. You could go in the other room. Or tell him to, I mean, Lord, we know that you women run the household. Y'all are the boss in any relationship. Tell him to turn the channel. Watch somebody else. So I'm not going to change how I am or how I do things for anybody that's maybe upset by something that I've said, because, and again, I give them full, they can feel however they want to feel, interpret however they want to interpret. It is what it is. Now, sometimes I am malicious. Sometimes if somebody pisses me off, I will tell a story and maybe I take shots or attack that person. That's, maybe I am. But oftentimes, some of the most common things when I have gotten comments from women, it has been like, I read the comment and I'm like, how did they not know that I wasn't joking? You know, that's typically how it goes. But I say all of that to build up what I'm about to tell you now about the story from yesterday. So, old Bottle Rocket Bortz, Ryan Bortz there, he messages me yesterday. And he sends me a screenshot of a YouTube comment box. And it's a person on there talking about how, what a bad person I am, how I degrade women and stuff. And Ryan sends me that screenshot, and he don't care about this guy talking bad about me on there or nothing. He's pointing out another person that has commented on this post because they had referenced him as Bottle Rocket Boards. And so Ryan thinks he's caught me. He thinks he's caught me with like a burner account or something. Because he's like, well, you're the only person that's ever called me Bottle Rocket Boards. So I know you're this person that's commented here. We got a fish. Hold on. To be continued. Look at this fish right here by our baits. This is the 0 mark, so this is right under the kayak. He is directly under us, 50 feet deep right there. I'm gonna pull up the screen here. He is right there by our baits, man. That was a bigger mark right there. I think he's actually over there near that bluegill, actually. That's where the transducer looks like it's pointing. He's just hanging out. You see that sometimes. You see fish come up, take a look, take a peek, swim around, never commit. I'm gonna just kick back and relax here a little bit. Let's put our map back. Let me just spin this around. Let me see what else is going on around here on the transducer. We've still got a bunch of bait. I've got that thing pointing in front of. We've still got a bunch of shad here, about 30 feet deep, just kind of suspended there. Yeah. Well, we'll see if that fish comes back and takes it, whatever. Lord, here comes another houseboat. They just keep coming. So anyway, back to the story. So old Bottle Rocket Boards, he thinks he's got me. He thinks because he's only heard me reference him as Bottle Rocket Boards that this must be me on this account. Like I've got a fake account or something and I'm just there trolling him on this other YouTube video where somebody is trolling me. So I was like, Ryan, I don't know if you know this, but like I've called you Bottle Rocket Boards in numerous unedited videos. And I finally, it took me a while. I had to go back and search because, I mean, hell, I've done a lot of these videos. But I vaguely remembered talking about like when I had thought of that. And so I was finally able to find the video and I sent him like the rough time estimate there of when it started. And in that video, it got like 80-something thousand views. And of course, I've mentioned it a few more times since then. So at this point, probably all things totaled up, probably 200,000 people or more have heard the nickname Bottle Rocket Boards. So one of them had commented on that post calling him Bottle Rocket Boards. So when you see Ryan or you watch his videos, make sure to reference him as Bottle Rocket Boards, y'all. But yeah, but anyway, he thought that this was a burner account or something I had. This houseboat, he's nice too. He's slowing down too. We've had some courteous houseboaters out here today. My last, well, I fished for bait there yesterday, a bait run for us, but I didn't film it. The last session I filmed was the carp trip. We had that boat go right in front of us. We're out there just idling out there in front of where we was fishing and no courtesy whatsoever. But these houseboaters today have been nice. So, you know, Ryan thinks he's got me in this burner account situation, which I quickly told him, like, no, hundreds of thousands of people now have heard me call you Bottle Rocket Boards. The whole world knows your nickname now. But I'm reading this screenshot here of this guy, like, you know, he's got a problem with me because I'm bashing women or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? So I click on the video. Again, this was a YouTube video. They were in the comment box. They'd got to talking about me, and it was reply after reply or whatnot. And shout out to the people who defended me. Thanks. I appreciate you having my back there when these internet trolls go after me. But this guy, I say guy, I don't know. I'm assuming gender, maybe. The profile picture looked like someone of what I could tell was a male gender, I don't know. I'm not trying, don't cancel me, I'm not trying to be offensive, I'm just saying what I saw. And so it looks like a guy who was upset about me taking shots at women, which again, I don't know why he would be upset with that. If he's not a woman, I don't know why he'd be personally offended, but nevertheless, he's on this post talking crap about me. And so I got on there. I hate doing that because I wasn't going to watch the video, and I don't like clicking on people, as a YouTuber, I don't like clicking on people's videos if I'm not going to watch them, because it hurts their view time. It hurts their average view time, which I know is a metric that YouTube really pushes. So I try not to do that. But I get on there, I take the bait. I get on there, I click down the comment box and read. And so because when I do this, here's what I do, y'all, and this is petty of me, but I do it. I'm a petty person, I admit it. If I see somebody that's talking crap about me on another YouTube comment box, another YouTube video, I just go ahead and block that person. I preemptively block them because I know they're probably going to end up on my video, and I'm going to have to block them there at some point. So I just go ahead and take care of it. Well, I went to block this guy, and come to find out I'd already blocked him on my channel, apparently, because he had already been blocked. So I guess he couldn't talk crap about me on my channel anymore. He's out there advertising for me now on other people's videos. I'm petty like that, man. I do that. Like, if somebody comes on my comment box and talks crap, I just block them. I do it because I know it's going to do two things. One, it's going to get, oh, there's that fish, he's back. Look right here. He's right there by our baits again. That's a big mark. He's right there directly under the kayak, 50 feet deep. Just sitting there under our baits. I don't know if that's a cat or not. I have no idea. I'm not good enough at live scope to be able to tell you whether that is or is not. He's moving on now. He's moving on. I don't know. That could be a cat. It could be a carp, a buffalo. Who the heck knows? But I see a big mark, and he's right under a bait. So, you know, I'm 2 + 2. I'm going to think he's a cat. He's moving on now, though. But when you block when somebody comes on my comment box, and they're just bashing me, talking stuff, it does two things. First off, anytime this happens, I won't say anytime, 90% of the time, it's an older white man, 50, 55 and up. White men don't like me. And my numbers reflect that. If you look at the age brackets of people who watch my videos, the biggest number is 35 to 44. The second biggest number is like 25 to 34. Like, that's who's watching not old white men. They just don't watch me, but they hate my guts. And so usually if I click on a profile, or if they got a YouTube channel and I click, or, you know, maybe it's something on Facebook or Instagram and I can see who they are, it's almost always old white men. And what's the number one thing that'll set an old white man off quicker than anything that you can do to them? Take away their ability, do something for their freedom of speech, right? Because they think they're entitled to be able to just bash you in the comment box. And around these parts, man, like I'm the sheriff, the king, the emperor, El Presidente, whatever you want to call it. Like, that comment box, you bash me, your ass is gone. So I take away their ability to do that, and that pisses them off even more. So then they start going to other YouTube channels and they start talking crap about me there. And they think they're getting at me by doing that. But most of the time I don't even see it unless somebody screenshots and sends it to me. But what they're actually doing is advertising for me, because they go on these other YouTube channels and they'll be bashing me and whatnot. And I've actually had people come to my channel and they've commented and said, hey, I saw somebody saying all kinds of stuff about you on this other YouTube video. So I come to you to just check it out, and I actually like your videos. And so it's like free advertising for me. So I stick it to them by taking away their freedom of speech on my channel, and then they go out and they advertise for me. So it's petty. I know it's petty of me to do that, but I don't care about this damn comment box, man. I enjoy interacting with some of you I've met, you know, that watch regularly and comment and stuff. And some of you, I feel like you've watched my videos for so long, we've kind of built a rapport with each other. I've got channel members certainly that have been with me for years that I knew long before there were channel memberships. And so I like interacting with those of you who like me and are positive and whatnot, but the people that just want to be negative, the people that are pissed off at something, pissed off at life, I think people like that are pretty pathetic in general. I mean, let's be real. If you choose to click on a video, which they have, I didn't force them to watch, they chose to click on it, and they get offended by something I say or do, it's kind of on them. They chose. I didn't choose it for them. They chose. And if you're the type of person that you're going to get so offended and so set off by a person who you don't even know, I'm just some random guy to these people on the internet. Like, they don't know me. But they get so upset they feel compelled to write out an essay in the comment box. They can't be happy people in life. Like, it's kind of pathetic. If I was a better person, I'd feel bad for them. But I'm not a better person, so I don't give a damn about them. But you know what I mean? Like, so I don't want to interact with those people. Back when I had a normal job working as a nurse, in that situation, I had to interact with people on the daily that I did not want to do, whether it was angry patients, angry family members, pissed off EMS workers, whatever the situation. You're constantly, your 12-hour shift, guarantee you're going to interact with a few people that you wouldn't do so with if you didn't have to, right? That's true whether, I don't care what industry, what job you do, unless you're just somebody that's got a job where you get to work by yourself, chances are you're going, and even if you do have a job, you're working by yourself, you're still probably working for somebody or have a customer of some kind. I mean, a lot of you that watch my videos, you're truck drivers. That's one of the most common professions I see pop up in my comment box. People say, oh, you know, I'm watching your video, I'm driving a truck, I'm on a route to wherever. Even as a truck driver, like, you're working by yourself most of the day, but I guarantee you when you get where you're going to drop off a load or pick up a load, whatever the case is, you're probably going to have to interact with people you don't want to interact with, right? I mean, it's the way it is. And so I had to do that back when I had a regular job, but now as doing this YouTube stuff, I don't have to interact with nearly as many people. And so when it comes to like a comment box where I have some control over who I interact with, as soon as somebody gets out of line, they're gone, because I'm not going to interact with anybody. I'm not much on human interaction anyway. I'm kind of an introverted person, antisocial. I kind of keep to myself most of the time. And so if anybody gives me the slightest reason to give them the axe, they're gone. Like, I cut bait, man. And so when I see a situation like this where it's on a completely different video, I thought, well, let me just see who I can block on here. And of course, this situation, I'd already blocked the guy. But I can't tell you how many times I have blocked somebody because of them just being nasty in another comment box. I've had people blocked before that were regular viewers of mine. People that I recognize the screen names, like they'll be on some post or YouTube there, just running me down like a dog. And hell, I've answered 20 comments before of them, you know? Like, it's people that I had a kind of a rapport with, or so I thought, but then you click on another video and you're like, well, I recognize that in the screen name. I recognize that person. This is totally different from how they normally act when they're on my YouTube videos. So I just go ahead, I hit the block button. Go ahead and take care of it. That way I don't have to waste time interacting with them in the future. Saves me time. So I preemptively do that. And then I guess when they get on my videos the next time, it's like, well, surprise, asshole. You ain't commenting no more. You have to create you a burner account, which some of them do. They absolutely do. I've had several people that have popped up numerous times, and you know it's the same person, even though it's a different screen name. You know it's the same thing because they're going on about the same subject or whatever it was, whatever topic that got them kicked off the first time. They make it obvious. So, but yeah, folks, bottom line is that person there yesterday was upset over something I'd said about women, even though he wasn't a woman, at least I don't think he was. And that kind of thing has happened before, so I thought I better just put my side out of it, or out in the open out there, and just kind of let you know, one, I'm not a woman hater. I love women. Me loving women has, at least women's bodies especially anyway, has gotten me in trouble in life at certain time periods of my life, as it probably has most of you fellas watching this. You know how it is, man. Just women get you in trouble sometimes, hormones and whatnot, cause you to make bad decisions with maybe women that you shouldn't be messing around with and stuff. So things happen, but women overall, I certainly like women, okay? So I'm not, when I make jokes and whatnot, I'm not bashing women. I'm just being stupid, just taking shots. It's what I did working with women for so many years, lightening the mood at work and stuff, and you know, and it was vice versa too. I mean, a lot of, when you're friends with people, you make jokes sometimes that, if taken out of context or overheard by somebody that don't know you, they might think you're sexist or racist or whatever. You know, pick your offensive term, but it's all out of context. It's not, most of the time, it's not actually malicious in intent. And that's what I think the general public, some people, that 10% of people that don't understand sarcasm, don't pick up on jokes, they don't get it. And then there's more and more people this day and time, I think, just want to be pissed off. They just want to be, they want something to be upset about. I don't know why they want to be that way, but it's like they look for reasons to be triggered. And they seek out reasons to be triggered. Me personally, I'm just talking about me. If I know something bothers me, I don't partake in it. I try to avoid it because I don't want to be triggered. I try to avoid situations that are going to piss me off. There's enough stuff happens just in regular life, everyday life, that's going to set me off over something. So I don't go out searching for things to offend me or upset me or whatever. I don't do that. But I think some people do. Social media is a prime example of this. How many times you're scrolling through social media, you see a post or something. If you're bored, maybe you're sitting on the toilet and you're bored and you got to kill a few minutes, whatever. you click on a post, you click on the comment box, there'll be people fighting and arguing down there in that comment box. And it's usually over some topic. You know, politics is clearly a very divisive subject. There's hardcore people on one side and hardcore people on the other side. So if a social media post is made, they're going to be down there in the comment box just bickering amongst each other, right? You see that all the time, especially this time of the year as we're going into election season. That's going to happen on my YouTube comment box. Here before long, these politicians are going to be running ads on YouTube. I have no control over the ads on YouTube. I don't have any say on what advertisements they put on my videos, or no YouTuber does. But these politicians will run by ad space on YouTube videos, and if you are somebody that politician is trying to reach, maybe it's a geographic region you live, maybe you're the age range they're trying to target, maybe you are just somebody that watches a lot of political shows on TV or a lot of political YouTube videos. Well, you are the primary type of person. You may not be on the right side of whatever you may be the opposite side, of the political candidate that they're pushing on that commercial. But YouTube, when they're buying those ad spaces, like they're telling YouTube what they're wanting. They're like, we want to reach people between ages of 40 and 49 that live in this place, that like these activities, male or female, they can dial that stuff in. And so if you have, let's say it's the situation I described, maybe you're between the ages of 40 and 49 and you live in that particular area and you have a certain interest that they had clicked the select box on, and you watch political videos or something. Well, you fall into that demographic that they're trying to reach. Now, you may be the opposite side of whatever candidate that is, but they can only whittle it down. I mean, they're pretty good. They've got us dialed in as far as marketing to us for politics, products, you name it. I mean, they target us on Google and YouTube and all the social media. We are targeted. They track our data, man. They've got us dialed in. But they can only do so much with it. They just know that you are in that age range, geographic location, and you're interested in politics, so you get shown political ads. But what happens in that situation, and this happened 4 years ago, and it's going to happen again now when these ads start popping up, is people are going to be blasting me. They're going to be upset with me, thinking that I'm supporting whatever candidate they're against just because their commercial was in my video. And hell, I ain't got no say in it. YouTube's putting commercials from both sides on my videos. And I certainly have my political beliefs and whatnot, but when it comes to the commercials, hell, I'm like, man, when politics season rolls around and you got all these politicians wanting to buy ad space, ad rates go up, man. I get a raise this time. Every 4 years around this time, I'm getting a raise on YouTube until the election's over. Boy, big splash behind us there. I don't know what these big fish are coming up. I don't know if it's carp or buffalo or what. But every 4 years when it's election season, I get a little bit of a raise during this time of year on YouTube. So I ain't complaining, but I don't understand why people would get mad at me or any other YouTuber over something we don't have control over. The fact is, YouTube is showing you that ad because you have shown tendency to be interested in political stuff. Maybe not on the side that they're showing, but just in general, you're super interested in it. You're watching all those videos and they're targeting you. You want to be upset with somebody, you ought to be upset with the damn social media companies that track our every move, that collect our data and then target us. But people get triggered by this, and then they end up bickering, in this situation with me in the comment box, blaming me for whatever they've seen, or they're on Facebook or Instagram, wherever, and they're arguing amongst other people there, trying to prove their case while they're better than the next person, which is a total waste of time, because you're never going to convince anybody. Something got hit. Something got hit over here. I don't know if he got hit or if he just took off all of a sudden. Bluegill got lively again. I felt it. I think he got hit. But whatever it was, it didn't eat him. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We've been sitting here a while now without a bite. We're going to give it a few more minutes, and I'm going to slide us over just a smidge. Get us down in this hole a little bit. We're seeing fish. Hell, I'm seeing fish right now. There's one right here. There's one. Here's one coming in. Like, there are fish down here, but they're just suddenly not. We may need to just switch all our baits up too. That may be what we need to do. It's been a while. Just spruce everything up. That rod right there had a little nip. Okay, maybe we ain't gonna move. We're just gonna sit right here. That's a nice takedown. Nice takedown. Nice takedown. Yeah, we're just gonna sit right here. We'll just stay right here. Bad idea. Glad y'all talked me out of that. Thanks for talking me out of moving. That would have been dumb because we just got bit again. It had been a little while though. Like I felt like we kind of had that flurry of activity there. We were catching some fish and then it just kind of petered out. Peter, pumpkinator, how many pumpkins can you feed her? That was a nice takedown. We'll see what the fish looks like when we get him up here. I can tell you right now, it ain't gonna measure up to that big flathead we got earlier. You know, another reason why we maybe shouldn't move over any further over into the channels, because we got another houseboat coming by. This is actually a barge coming by now. If we get over there any further, they're not gonna be able to go around us. It's a lot of boat traffic today for some reason. Large boat traffic anyway. We're not seeing fishermen. I'm filming this on a weekday. Yeah, that's a nice fish. I knew from the takedown he had to be pretty good. Blue. That's another solid fish right there. Oh, Lord. He splashed me good. Did he get y'all? He got me good. Hell, I got water running down the back of my head right now. He got me not only in the face, but on top of the head and the back of the head somehow. See if we can get this thing landed before the barge comes through. Okay, fish, come on down. The price is right. You're the next contestant. Thanks for coming along, fish. It's been a minute. I done been able to tell 3 or 4 stories here. I probably done offended some more people. Stories I'm telling. Them people down there, they're arguing with me right now. They're like, I know that Justin. He puts that political candidate I hate. He's friends with that person, and they're paying him personally for ad space on the video. That's what they think. Bunch of weirdos, man. Let's hold this fish up before the barge goes by. There might be some fishermen on that barge. We don't want them to know we're catching anything here. Fun sizer, a little bit, good length, kind of skinny. Hell of a takedown though, nice takedown. We saw him, oh. What a fit, did you see that? Tried to rip my thumb off from the glove and everything. That fish there, a bad attitude, man. He's flung water up on the lens of the camera there too. Danged old fish, man. I'll tell you what we will do though. We're gonna spruce up everything. We're going to change out all the baits. We'll put on fresh skips. We'll reel the bluegill up because I think he got hit there a little while ago, or got a lively one. We'll take a look at it. If he looks okay, we'll drop him back down. If not, we'll switch him out. And that's TVA. Yeah. All right, let's do that. I don't know what we got all these big boats going by, man. It's like, had numerous houseboats, barge now. I'm filming on a weekday morning. You usually don't see this much boat traffic. But that solved the debate. Y'all was here trying to talk me into switching spots, to sliding over a little bit. And I said, I told you that was dumb. I said, just give it a little time. There'll be some more fish come through. And sure enough, you about goaded me into moving. You just about done it. And then we got bit, so I'm glad I didn't let y'all talk me into it. You'd have talked us out of a fish. We'll keep the same setup ahead. The head ain't been, surprisingly, the head has not been a very good bait for us today. Have we caught any fish on the head? I don't think we have. I don't think we've gotten anything on it. It's surprising, but it's just, it's like that sometimes. It's just the way it is, but it's why we offer them options. A day like today, where I'm fishing in this kayak, where I've got an opportunity to fish 4 rods, I've certainly got a better chance of being able to key in on a particular bait or a particular, I got to cut that fin off too, a particular cut. If there is a preference that on that day, then better chance to do it, obviously. But I don't know, today, so far, head baits failed us. I'm gonna leave it down there though, because I do have a ton of confidence in it. Put the head down with the gut pocket, or the chunk, with the gut pocket intact. Well, okay, there we go. Y'all had that daggone line wrapped all around the rod tip again. I gotta clean the water off the lens too, don't I? That fish had splashed water when he tried to rip my thumb and take the glove with him. I do think we've got a little current now. I guess where they turned on the generator there at the dam, well, you got water. Y'all should have done something like that. I can't even clean you off on my arm here because we got slime and everything all over it. But I think we've got a little bit of flow. I think we got, you can kind of see my lines just at a slight angle. So they've kicked them generators on earlier this morning. I guess whatever flow we've got, it's caught up to us now. It's made its way down river enough for us to have a little water movement. So that will help our cause. That will disperse our scent and get it going on down, get it moving around a little bit. So never hurts to have a little current when you're catfishing. Anything you can do to disperse your scent, you're gonna help your cause dramatically. I'm gonna try to fish tomorrow. I'm gonna have plenty of bait left over. You know what I'm gonna have a hard time doing? Is going somewhere else tomorrow. Having caught that big flathead here today, and I've caught other flatheads here through the years, big flatheads. I don't think it's a situation where like, that's that one flathead, like this is his area, territorial type thing. No, I think they just move through here. Because I've caught several big flatheads through the years, and it's just, I think there's a chance we come out here tomorrow, we might bust another one. Or maybe get a big blue or something. I think it's very possible. I wish I could get us some more yellow bass. Well, I wish. It would be interesting to know, and we'll obviously never know this. We'll never be able to prove it. But let's say that flathead come along there earlier when it did. Now, here in the kayak, all of my baits are close proximity to each other. I mean, you can see how far apart they are, all 4 rods, very close proximity. If that flathead comes along and that yellow bass isn't down there, let's say we just got on another piece of cut bait. Does he snub his nose at all the cut bait and keep going? Or does he take one of the other options? Did he only take that option? Did he possibly come from that direction and come to that bait first? And that's why it chose what it did. We'll never know. Can't prove anything, clearly. But I oftentimes think about that. Like, what if? And something, when they choose one bait like that, yeah, that bluegill's messed up, man. We're gonna switch him out. In that situation, it's like, if they didn't have any other option, would they have taken something else that was available? That bluegill. Y'all would feel bad for that bluegill. I'm gonna just toss him out. Something got him down there. Something tore him up. I thought he had got hit, and he looked like it. Get this in here. Oh, come here, bluegill. Come here. Lord. Goodness, calm it down. Save that energy for when I put you down there. I put that hook in my hands, what about, dude? Y'all turn away again. I gotta give him a haircut. As he pees all over me. Okay. Okay. Yeah, save that energy, bluegill. There he is, folks. Not nearly as big as the yellow bass offering, but it's a live bait nonetheless. He'll be down there kicking. That's something about that yellow bass, though. I'm confident that's the biggest flathead I've caught on a live bait. I've caught bigger on cut bait, but live bait, that was pretty sure my biggest. Have we got any more bluegill in here, or is that the last one? I think that's it. I think that's our last live bait. I caught more bluegill yesterday. I just didn't want to overcrowd the bucket and risk killing off those yellow bass. I'm gonna pour this water out. If we catch another big fish, it won't, the weight shifting in the kayak won't potentially throw me overboard. All right. And this bucket here, it's just a 5-gallon bucket, folks. That's all it is. People have asked me about this before. It's a 5-gallon bucket with a 5-gallon bucket lid. This one here, I think, come from Walmart for $3 or $4, whatever they cost. They're cheap. I cut out the rim here, or a hole in this lid, and this is a 6-inch kayak hatch. I got it on Amazon, like 10 bucks. And that sets down in there, and I put a couple bolts through, hold it in place. But now I got a hatch, easily get on and off. This is easier than pulling this lid off on here. Now I've broke this. I had my trolling motor balancing on it there in the shed, and the weight of it, I guess, broke the lid, but it's still very functional. And so, and I just, here I've cut a couple holes to run them air stone tubes through, and then that connects to this little portable aerator, which these things, quality on these is hit or miss. They don't, you get about 4 or 5 hours of battery life. This is like my daggone camera battery pack. You get about 4 or 5 hours out of it. And then you ain't getting the 8 hours that they claim. But it is rechargeable. It does when it works, it does a good job. They're cheap. I got an Amazon link for them there if you want to find this model. But that's really all you need for keeping hardier baits alive and keeping just a few of them in a kayak like that. This has worked well. Of all the live bait setups I have had through the years, there goes jet ski. Of all the live bait setups I've had through the years, this one has worked the best for me. It suited my needs the best. I've tried a bunch, but I like this one the best. Every time I talk about a live bait container, somebody always chimes in that I should, and sometimes they'll send me a link, and it'll be like a laundry basket that you would pull beside the kayak with like a pool noodle around the top and something over the top there to keep fish in, or a cage of some kind to put your live baits in to pull along. Folks, every time I get one of them comments, I know the person's never been to kayak before and tried to pull anything. Even something like a laundry basket with a bunch of holes in it, it's so much drag. Like it should, anytime you try to pull something like that with a kayak, like it's just a ton of drag. It's too much. So you either need something you can put in the kayak like this, or have something, maybe like a liner in there that you could set in the bucket while you are going place to place, and then take it and connect it to the kayak and set it out once you get where you're going. Now, I did have a setup like that once upon a time, and it worked okay, but I like this better. This suits my needs better. And I don't use live bait very frequently, so not a huge deal. Not a big deal. What I kind of want to do, though, is go try to get us some more. I know where I got them yellow bass at last night. I was working. I was working an area. I was trolling when I first got out there going after skipjack. I was working along the edge of a weed line, and I got them yellow bass. And I circled back through a couple more times, and I didn't get any more. And then I moved on. I finally found some skips, and I was casting to them and getting them. But those yellow bass would be probably still there somewhere along that weed line. And I'm half tempted to try to get out there this afternoon. When I leave here, I got to go home and doctor Daphne's eyes. These new drops they put her on, it's twice a day. And I had done the other ones there. I should have probably done it this morning while she was still kind of tired, but she's a battle either way, and I wanted to get on out here this morning, so I'm going to do it at lunch and then before bed. And that'll be close to 12 hours apart. Since I've been able to get up a little later these days with the days getting shorter, it don't get daylight now till after 7. I've been staying up a little later at night, plus football season too. That Sunday night game and Monday night game, they don't end till 11-ish, so got to stay up and watch that. But I may think about going over there and trying to get us some more yellow bass. Tomorrow, if I get to fish, I think this weather here, I mean, I got rained on the way here this morning, but it ain't done nothing since we've been out here. I think this is supposed to move out, I think. So, assuming I get to fish tomorrow, it sure would be nice to have some more yellow bass, and it would be awesome if we could get another big flathead. The question is, here's the question, y'all. Do I come back here to see if lightning will strike again? We've had several blues today. We've had a couple good quality. So I'm inclined to believe even if we didn't get a big flathead tomorrow, we'd get enough blues to keep our interest. It would be interesting, too, to come back out here and start here first thing in the morning. Don't bother going up the ledge. Just come here first thing, spot lock. The problem is I got a few other places I want to go to try to bust a big flathead, too. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. You leaving fish to go find fish oftentimes bite you. So there's that. Here's the other thing. Like, and I'll have to be careful. I may not even get to post that picture of the flathead on social media, because I know if I post it and there's something in the background, you know, there'll be another YouTuber down here. That's how it's always been. Every time I post a video of a big fish, that other YouTuber's there shortly thereafter. And so that's why I keep my videos on a delay like I do. I try to keep them 2 to 3 weeks back. That way the information I'm sharing in the videos is still relative. It's still pertinent to the time period that you're seeing it. But there's enough distance between when I filmed it to when it's posted that if I want to go hit a spot, if I get on a good bite and I want to hit it 2 or 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whatever, I can keep doing it before people see where I'm at and what I'm doing and then go pound the spot. Because if I went home today and posted this video with that flathead, if I come back out tomorrow, I guarantee there'll be somebody sitting here filming a video. That's how it is, man. YouTube's a cutthroat thing with some people. So I don't have to do that because I can read that map, and I got a lot of experience reading that map, and so I know, especially here locally, around fishing around where I live, I know oftentimes where I can get a bite and when. But I know how the YouTube game works too, so I try to keep my videos a little behind. So if I wanted to come back here and fish, the sooner the better would be the time to do it. Because once it comes out, it's over. It's over for the year at least. We may bust another big flathead tomorrow. Boy, there's some big splashes going on around here. I don't know what those are. They keep coming up. I have no idea. It may be carp. They do that, but they usually do that first thing in the morning. I don't know what they are. But yeah, I mean, I think we had a flathead on that first yellow bass too. You know, it was sitting there. The rod tip was sitting there. I think it was a significantly smaller yellow bass on it. I mean, listen to me talk, a smaller yellow bass. I think it was a significantly smaller flathead, folks. I've been talking too damn long. Like I mentioned earlier, you spend 4 hours talking on a video, and you do that in numerous videos, you're going to misspeak from time to time. You're going to fumble your words, you're going to misspeak, you're going to say something that's offensive that you don't necessarily mean to be offensive. That's the way it is, folks. It's just part of it. Nobody's perfect. Just like my stomach right now. If you heard that growling on that video there, like it apparently don't know that it needs to wait till we're done filming to start growling to tell me it's time to eat lunch. It's off cue. I had a banana coming out here today. I don't know if bananas are bad luck after all. You know, I am a big believer in Bad Judy, as you probably know after my story of the rock today. But it's been long rumored that bananas are a jinx, that they're bad luck on a fishing trip. You can't have them in a boat, can't have them in a kayak. Well, Daniel last year caught that 80-some-odd pound fish with a banana in his boat, or in his kayak. And then I went out on a carp trip recently, and I had banana in my pack bait mix, and I had another banana just sitting in the kayak so I could use for my thumbnail of the video. And I caught fish and got several fish, some big fish and stuff. So I don't know that bananas are maybe a jinx after all. They may be getting a bad rap. But either way, I ate a banana on the way out here this morning. But it's gone. I tossed the peel, so there's no banana remnants in here. to my knowledge anyway, unless Daniel or Ryan has stuck a banana in one of these hatches or something just to mess with me, which I ain't seen either one of them in a while, so. I would have seen Ryan there at the tournament, but I'm a fair weather fisherman, so I didn't go. And Daniel, he went to Colorado, visit some family, and I ain't fished with him in 2 or 3 months, I reckon. I need to get down there and make a trip down south, fish with him at some point before it gets cold. I just got a lot coming up these next few weeks. I'm got to go to Ohio, pick up that kayak. Got to go to Louisiana and do that next tournament, assuming the weather allows. Going to Santee Cooper after that, and then there at the end of November, got the trip down to Florida. So I've got several road trips coming up planned, and so it's hard to justify spending extra travel time. I just don't. I like fishing places, but I don't like traveling to get there and whatnot. Look at this slime. Now all this slime is dried on my shirt. Look at all that mess. That's what a good day looks like right there, folks. When you got all this slime that's falling off your shirt here, looking like somebody that's in front of you in the line at Walmart shaking their head and dandruff just flying everywhere, that's how you know you've had a good day. It ain't a good day if you're behind that person in line at the Walmart, but it's a good day if you covered in slime. The bite has slowed though, for sure. You know, right before we got that last fish, I was thinking, boy, it's been a while. And I thought about moving over a little bit, but then we got bit, but it's definitely slowed down. I think, you know, those bites all came kind of pretty close there together, right? Like the flathead, and we had a few blues, like it was, they were all in a close time period. Maybe we had a feeding window going on during then. The fish just kind of turned on and were feeding, and now it's over. The window closed. But if we come back out here tomorrow and there ain't no major change in the weather, there ain't no major change in water conditions, there's a real good chance that feeding window will be around the same time again tomorrow. So we'll know. I think that's probably what I may do. I think that's what I may do. So the next video, folks, if you see me back out here tomorrow, you'll know as soon as you click on that video, things went well. If you click on the video and it's not me sitting here on the next one, then one of two things. Either things didn't go well tomorrow and I've filmed another video on a different day, or maybe I just got a wild hair and called an audible and went somewhere else in the morning. That could happen too. I've got a few places I want to hit. Looking for a big flathead, and this one has paid off. It's paid off big today. Got a bee flying around. I wish y'all'd swat that bee. It's a yellow jacket. Oh hell, y'all, my battery's about dead. Man, has it really been almost 4 hours already? This battery, boy, another big splash right there in front of us. I need to get a bigger battery pack, but this one here that connects to this camera, it fits perfectly where I need it to fit. So I hate to mess things up, but between the camera battery and the battery pack, I get like 4 hours of runtime. A little longer when it's cold, but in the summer months, and you know, right now it's comfortable temperature, but you know what I mean. Seems like cold weather helps extend battery life on these lithium batteries for some reason. I don't know why that is, but anyhow, battery's about dead. So I'm gonna fish here. I'm gonna probably stay another 30 minutes to an hour, just ride it out, see if we get any more bites. I'm gonna turn the camera off though, because it's about dead. I think tomorrow I'm gonna come back here. man, you catch a big flathead like that, there could be more here. And I know if I post a picture and there's something in the background, or this video post, and people, this place will be covered up. I've been there, done that. I know, man. I know this is how it happens. I've been on YouTube. I've seen it enough. You know, I've played this game. I know how it is. So if I want to fish an area and I'm on a bite, I got to get on it, hit it hard, and then move on. And by the time everybody else shows up, I'm on to the next place. So that's what I do. But anyway, y'all, hell of a morning out here. Several fish, couple decent, good quality blues there, several bites, but that flathead, I'm gonna fist pump it again, man. It was awesome. It was everything I had hoped for. I woke up this morning just feeling like today could be the day. You know, sometimes you just feel it because it's the time of year. It's right, the location is right. We had these premium baits, fresh skipjack in the cooler. Like, I was just feeling it today, and I'm glad it paid off. I love it when a plan comes together, as Hannibal from the A-Team so famously said. So, here comes another houseboat, folks. Look at that. What are they all doing? I'm filming this on a Wednesday, and there ain't no UT home game this weekend. So normally we get these houseboats go up and down on ball game weekends, the Vol Navy they're called, but that ain't it. That's not the situation right now. I don't know why, but I mean, there sure as the world, there comes another one. I don't know what's up. Thankfully, they've all been courteous today and slowed down, went by the barge can't go real fast anyway, but we've not had any boating issues out here today, at least. So that's went well for us. The fishing's went well. I've had fun. I enjoy the process of doing this, how we're set up today. My favorite way to fish. And so when you enjoy the process and you get the results, it's perfect, man. It's a perfect situation. So anyway, before this camera craps out, I'll turn it off here, tell y'all bye, and I'll be back out here probably tomorrow. So if you want to come with me, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.